Hey, what's up, Kem?
Yeah, good dude. Good dude. It's Sunday evening, right? So I've had like a nice weekend, social stuff, and looking forward to getting the week started. I'm a little bit tired, a little bit sore. The head's still a little numb, but
Mm,
but yeah, looking forward to doing this, getting into the swing of it all. Yeah. What about yourself?
sweet, dude. And yeah, it's already it's relatively early here. It's only quarter till noon, but already had a busy morning. We had the Wizards call as well. Almost a dozen of us in there talking AI
That
for
was fun. Yeah.
over an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That's my favorite call of the week. I said it to you a few times. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. here, and yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's nice now because it's a bit lighter outside still, you know. Like
Mhm.
when the winter comes, it's like real cave feelings, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Well, brother, let's what are we jumping into today?
Man, I don't know. Like I figured like today we would actually like start moving on from our like just working out how to stream to actually like getting into it. What I'm quite excited about actually, dude, is I know like we've known each other for a while now, and like obviously we talk so much and we share stuff, you know. But I've never like got to actually like show you like it as it happens, you know, or
Yeah.
like actually the specifics of what I've been working on and stuff. So that's quite exciting. So I think it might be fun to dive into some of that stuff today.
Sweet, dude. Yeah,
Pretty
let's
much what we were discussing before stream, really. You know.
yeah. Yeah, let's get into it then. So we were working on let's see, we were working on the building out the fundamentals and the foundation of our AI harness, and the problem that you were solving that makes so much sense to me is the measuring what's happening behind the scenes with
Yeah.
accuracy, and not just measuring the order that things happen and the timing of it, but the actual payloads that are sent, all of the entire thing, to understand, hey, what's being communicated where, what's being pinged where, and then start breaking apart what's happening with other harnesses and build our own on that rock solid foundation,
Yeah,
right?
man. Yeah. So kind of like I always think like one of the things that kind of is quite frustrating, I think, with like vibe coding or using AI to code, whatever you want to call it, man. You know, like everyone's different. Is that it's kind of a black box in some respect. Like I really like working with Claude by Anthropic, like the Opus models and stuff. Um, I use a number of models, but that's like my main thing. So I work in their own little, you know, command line thing, their TUI, right? And so it's their harness. So you can control it in lots of cool ways, right? Like everyone knows about like skills and hooks and stuff. And you set these things up, and you might even, you know, if you're really technical, you'll get into the files and try and do stuff. Or if you're not, you might just, you know, type and get some assistance to set these things up. But the problem I found is that without making a conscious effort, you don't even know these things are really working, you know, because it's all kind of a black box. And you remember that I did that blog post about like you think you're using skills, but most of the time you're not. And like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this kind of stuff. So one of the things I really wanted to fix this time, because I've made this mistake before, is like when I'm developing from the ground up, before it becomes too much of a mess and I can't trace everything back because there's just too much code or there's too much stuff going on, is to try and set up the development environment up front so that I can see these events. You know, you mentioned like payloads and stuff, but like just events. And I thought I wanted to try and, you know, there was this other thing going on, which was basically that I'm trying to like show you what I think is a good way to go about that. And so I'm building this little MVP basically to kind of just test like one little tiny feature in my algorithm, which we can talk about later as and when if you want, and
Yeah.
just to test like that flow and just kind of get it kind of working and get this little development space that I can operate from, and then I can see things happening. And so we can actually see like, are these things that we think are working the way they are because we've either tested it or read somewhere in some official documentation or asked AI and it's told us this is how it works, but you're just kind of trusting it blindly. So it's like, how can I actually see this actually happening? And I think that'd be cool. Yeah.
Dude, I that just made so much sense to me too the other day whenever you mentioned that daemons would just be failing silently in the background. And over the weekend, I've done a full audit of my own system, and found a few locations where daemons were failing silently. And I had to chuckle to
Yeah.
myself, understanding now, oh, okay, these files that say, what could it be, like SSH and then D, or some other file type and then D, right, to just run daemon, it's running in the background and you don't always know if it is failing or if it's actually doing what you think it's doing.
Yeah, man.
So
Like
to me, that makes
monitoring
so
in
much
general, right?
sense.
Like I just think
Yeah.
and some of it comes more intuitively. You've seen, I don't know about you, but I've seen quite a lot of people do like the dashboardy type things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of see, I guess, in some way, like that some
Yeah.
things are happening. But I think for me, it was like I think the game changer came a bit too late for me, kind of when things were already a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like trying to work out like how can I check this thing? And I ended up like asking AI, can I do like code review and code trace? And it was just
Yeah.
using so many tokens to do it, right? It was like trying to reverse engineer like a completed system and then doing like acting like a BA, and you're just kind of like trying to work out everything and like getting all like the functional spec drafted for the first time. That's another thing, like not keeping documentation in trying to do it after the fact, because you didn't know where you were going and like what your plan was, and you just kind of landed there accidentally. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And it's it's kind of funny. I realized that the exploration without realizing where you're going is really important in like part one, but then part two is actually mapping out, okay, where did you go, and understanding where that was to then say, hey, are you on the right trajectory or not?
Yeah.
And so measuring what's actually happening is it's a no-brainer, and then doing it with accuracy, because that comes into
Yeah.
play as well, that you get these false signals saying, hey, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, unless you actually measure it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's
You
right.
don't
And
know.
it's like when I talk, because I'm like a really really bad programmer, like really bad. And then when I talk to like software engineers, proper software engineers that are like, friends that I've worked with and stuff, and they talk about how they like evaluate things and benchmark things, it was such a big eye opener for me. Like it really helped me like with AI to think about these problems that way. And like he'd say like, oh well, have you checked this? And I'd be like, what? Like what even is that? Like, and he'd explain why they do it, and I'm like, oh, and then I would just talk to AI and go, how can I kind of do that? And then I would fudge my way through, right? And it would always hit these roadblocks because I was just too deep. Like sometimes I could get some good information, but I realized that it was quite foundational stuff. And it's like, so that's part of why I'm quite excited. I mean, it's one of the many reasons I'm really excited and why I kind of am trying to show you why I think doing it from scratch, as in we're always going to build it from the bottom up again, but really like just found from the beginning. And then I also thought that would be really cool for like anyone that wanted to watch, because then they get to see the full journey of actually how you build this thing, from the beginning, and see all the problems that I'm going to come across. And I'm sure there'll be loads. Hopefully we get some today, right? Because that's the fun bit, when you kind of get these problems. And I've been finding myself doing that thing with AI. Like a bug will happen, it will say what happened, it'll be really technical, and sometimes I'll get it because of experience, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, that kind of makes sense, and other times I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I have that little back and forth with AI, and I'm like, oh, help me understand this better. And then oh right, and question, and I'm like, oh cool, like I've learned something now, right? And I love that, and I never stop that feeling of discovery and learning. So this is a really good opportunity to go through that again, but this time with more discipline.
Yeah. Do you also find it's hard to not just accept the plans or the recommendations of the system without reading through and fully truly understanding?
Yeah, it's such a cool question, man. It's such a cool question. I think I would say that the temptation is always there, just to yes to all, but I know that I'll pay for that, So we can talk actually about, if you want, about I've got a pretty refined system now for the way I develop, and it's just kind of design spec development. And I do vertical slices. We can talk about that later if you want. I can go through some of that stuff. But basically, the idea is that the principle is basically like when it gets to the point where I'm about to draft like some kind of design spec, like a PRD, which is, I think a lot of people use that approach, right? The view is to create a PRD and then from that work out how you're going to deliver it, right? So when I'm getting to that PRD phase, it's usually like I've already gone through so many of the questions and done so much of the work ahead of time that I don't even bother reading the PRD because I've already done the work and had that dialogue. So I usually do a lot of very like granular reading everything, checking everything, questioning everything, asking everything. So acting like literally like a functional analyst would in a bank, like with an SME. Like, so the AI is like my SME, and I'm, it's mostly just alignment, really, just making sure that it's got the context it needs, and there's no fluff, and really carefully constructing that context so that a PRD comes out and it's pretty good. Then I don't read the PRD, and then I challenge again in the plan to make sure, like I go into like a plan mode, like everyone does, and I'll do like the whole, like, how do we phase this? Does that make sense for that to happen first? Or what about this little thing? And then once that's done, it's all done. And then everything else is kind of automated. So I'll then feel quite happy for a particular phase or slice, as I call it, because I use vertical slices. And when I deliver that, I pretty much just auto mode that. So auto mode is like dangerously skip permissions, but it's without the dangerous part because they put some rules in or something like that. I think this is what it is. I'm only recently using it and it's really been great. And
super convenient. I love using it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like just a bit more comfort. And I found when I first started to use it, I was looking at what it was giving permissions for, and it was a lot of the stuff that I would have given permissions for based on the space. So I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Like, it will stop me from deleting a branch in GitHub or something like that, which I tried to do today on purpose, intentionally. And then and it was interesting, actually. It was the first time I'd seen it actually reject me because of auto mode. And then I went back and forth and I was going, just do it. I've given you the approval now, like you can just do it. Then it gave me a question. You know how like in the terminal Claude can do that thing where it has like a questionnaire and you have options and you can just select. And so I selected yes, delete, and it failed again. And it said, you can't do it like that. You have to explicitly write, yes, please delete. And it gave me the full quote mark for what I had to write. And then I wrote that, I copied and pasted that, and then it did it. So I was like, this is really cool. Like, I've never actually seen that work. It's like properly secure, I was like, give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, that's the same kind of thing that you would face if you were trying to delete a database or some other.
Yeah, it wouldn't let you do that, right?
Container,
yeah,
that's
totally.
pretty sweet, man. I've also noticed it's gotten a lot smarter with those safeguards and escalating things that need human intervention.
Yeah, and I think as well, like during today, like while we're working, obviously if you have any questions about things like how I set up the administration, so like after a slice happens, what are the documents that get updated and why? Because it's all automated, right, in my little development skill. So I won't remember all of it. Do you know what I mean? So I just see it happening, right? Because I've refined it. But we can just ask the AI, what are the rules that I've set up and what is the steps that we take in every slice? And we'll just read what the AI says, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool. So no questions off limit. If you think they're going to be useful to help you understand, and anyone that listens understands, I'm going to be really excited to just prompt it, man. Oh, actually, I've been using Whisperflow. So I've been really into this recently, man. I know this is the thing. This is the most value add software that I've got involved in is Whisperflow, and we're not sponsored by Whisperflow. They're just super cool, and I love it, and I'm obsessed with it, and so I'll be using that today as well.
Dude, that and the Lark M2 you just tapped on.
Yeah, which I've got. Yeah, I love this thing. It's so cool. Yeah.
Sweet, dude. Well, you want to jump into how we're going to measure the messages that are sent back and forth? And
Do you think one of the things I tried to do today, just before we get stuck in, is I'm starting to draft like an HTML of like what I did that day, why we do it, just to keep track. Like, I thought it could be quite helpful for this. It's been done by AI. It's not great. It's a bit verbose and stuff, but it might give me some couple of points.
It's just a log, it sounds like. So
that kind of. And we'll just skim through it maybe and give you an idea, because what it has is I've obviously done a few slices already. And so just to give you kind of a like how we got to where we are now, right? Because I thought that one might be quite neat. All right. So maybe I should just start by sharing my screen, dude. That's probably the best thing to do, right?
Sweet. Yeah.
Let
Share
me,
your screen, and I will.
yeah, I'll share my entire screen. It might go crazy for a second because it's going to see you and it's going to make that crazy thing. Okay, let me try and move away. So now I can't see you. I can only see.
Yeah, you let me know
let's
when
go
we're
with
good
this.
to go.
Yeah, we're good to go, dude.
All right.
Tell me what you can see and I'll just kind of go through it. I'll move this over because it's sharing my screen. Hide. I should do that. Yeah. Okay, when you're ready, you just let me know, bud, because I can't see the screen at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we are.
I got my other monitor coming, so for this, I've got a really big monitor and I love it, but I really need my second monitor again. I used to have like 4, but now like two is what I actually like. I like one really big screen and one small screen. But yeah, that's coming at the moment in the post. So I've just got the one big screen here today. So I can't see what's going on.
Well, you're up, so you're good to go, my brother.
All right, cool. So this is this HTML that it made about kind of what we did. Most of it is kind of AI verbose nonsense, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, we're just basically, the important thing is this is an MVP, right? And the idea is that if you like and I like where we land with this MVP, the idea is then we'll convert it to the production thing that we're going to build on, right? So yeah, it's not a product, it's a substrate, right? I don't need to read all of this stuff. I'm focusing on one specific feature that I think proves a lot of the front to back ideas that we have. So I picked a little part of the algorithm. The specific part that I picked, because I think it's a really good test case for the MVP, is the thing that when you type a prompt, so when I go into Claude and I say, can you tell me something? Are you still there? Because I heard the voice drop out. Oh, let me check.
Yeah, you are all good. I am just hiding myself so you have more of the screen.
Okay. Oh, no problem. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, so the thing I picked was the algorithm, and I picked one little part of the algorithm, and it was the bit where when you type a prompt, there's a hook that you can use, right? The submit hook, right? And so what that does is it allows you that whenever you type a prompt, you can do something, right? That's what the hook does, right? Something. And I wanted to use that to use some code that we wrote, right? Some TypeScript in this case, to inject something into the prompt, right? And so the idea was I could use that to send it to our algorithm to decide how much effort is required to answer that question, right? And you can do all sorts of super duper cool things with that, right? Like the obvious one is that if it's not that complicated, you can get it to route to a cheaper model, right? Like Sonnet, right? But that's not too exciting, but it's cool. It's one thing that people often think up. But the why I love it is because I use these different like methodologies to address problems that I'm facing, and some are really intense, like really big, difficult problems, like the red team hacking thing, right? So like to hack my ideas, I inherited this idea from, who was it? The security guy, Miesler. And the idea was that he hacks his ideas by getting lots of agent teams to like attack it. But you don't want that for every question that you ask. And you don't want to just run it as a skill, because there's lots of advantages and disadvantages. So you want the model to actually understand based on the complexity, like when to do things like that, or when to produce a project plan, or when to structure something with these huge workflows. So this is what the idea is for the algorithm. So that's the feature I'm going for. And because it uses hooks and it uses TypeScript and it uses all these different events, it's a good development environment thing where we can create the development environment and see shit happening, right? So excuse my language. I know TOS, sorry. It's a bad habit. Okay, cool. So that's basically what this is, right? This is some stuff about the tech stuff that we're using, which we don't need. Nothing to worry about here, but this is cool. So this is what I've done so far. And this is basically just going to bring you up to speed. So the first thing I did, so these are, like I said, I develop in slices. So that means, I think most AI, I think you might know this actually, Chase, most AI kind of develops horizontally. So it does all the work in the back end, then it builds like all the middle, and then it does all the front, and then everything's done, right? And then you have to test the whole thing. And you don't know if the problem started here, or here, right? And so by doing it in slices, it's like everything from front to back. It might only be a really small thing, but you get to test the whole thing, right? So that each slice, when things go wrong, it's really easy for the AI to isolate it. So, and it helps with fixing, right? So that's what I did. So phase A was I just made a shell. So this is just, a UI basically.
Quick question. Whenever you're making these vertical slices, are you modularizing the 3 or multiple pieces that you have? So like your database piece, your front end, your middle.
A middleware, yeah. So I don't think of, I think, so generally, I think modularizing is really good for obvious reasons because you limit the blast radius. So like if something goes wrong and you change code with AI and it makes a mistake, you don't break like things over here that silently fail and you don't know what the hell's going on until you suddenly come across it in production, right? Or in UAT or in whatever. So that's really good. But interestingly, I also learned that AI is really good at reading one long document and it doesn't do so great referencing other documents. So the way I modularize it is kind of a mixture of those two things. And the way I manage it is still modular, but I do it by creating an index. So maybe what we can talk about at some point is after the MVP, I plan on doing this like C4 thing, which I've spoken to you about.
Yeah, I love like C4. Very
cool.
Yeah.
So like we can show people how that works. And it's a way of like giving AI the full like map of how everything connects. And when you do a change here, what could it impact, right? So it has to check. And that's a thing that I think a lot of vibe coding misses. And it's super easy to set up and AI can do it all. So that's kind of how I do it. But in terms of the code itself, yes, I like to modularize to keep things limited, but because this is just an MVP, I haven't even had to think about that yet because it's been really straightforward, as you can see when I go through what I've done. But yeah, does that help answer the question, kind of?
Yeah, dude, that definitely helps. Yeah,
cool. Cool. All right. So I guess I'll continue. So phase A was just making a shell, just literally a UI, right? Like I said, I got this thing called run, which is where it all happens. This is my development space. And I'm going to put something here which shows what's going on. Remember that thing about the events, like to see what's going on? So that's what the plan was, right? Then I wanted to put in a terminal just to help me with, this is not important, right? I think when I build the final thing, I want the user, me, or anyone else that uses it, to kind of talk to it more like a chatbot, right? Like kind of like a Telegram, like a just, bubbles and fun, nice, easy, not like a terminal window, right? 'Cause it's quite intimidating. But for the dev environment, it just stops me from having to go in the terminal all the time because I'm going to develop within this thing once I get going, right? That's the vision. So I wanted to make a terminal in there that worked, that did all the things I needed. Then I had to begin making sure that it actually fired, right? And I also had to think about how I wanted to view these things, because if you just let events run wild, it would just be a huge stream of information. And it's really hard to actually see what's going on. So I designed this kind of card system that I'll show you, and I'll explain to you when I show it to you for real. But that's the idea. So you do something, like in this case, he's asking Claude, please refactor the auth flow. We'll do that exact example, right? And it created a bunch of cards that can tell you stuff about what was going on when I clicked enter, right? So that's cool. Then I think this is where I am now. This is the fact that I was connecting those two pieces, basically, making sure they actually worked. And a couple of other little nuanced buggy things that I found, right?
Wait, and let's see, what are those? Those are, so that's being able to actually trace.
Yeah, so the algorithm trace is where all events will come up. And the vision is that you can look at this. This will be a different tab situation. And you'll be able to look at the algorithm, or you'll be able to look at, say, events or something else, right? Because this is a dev space. The vision is anything we do, whenever we click enter and anything's happening, even if it's a hook or it's a, whatever it might be,
Yeah, an
or it's doing
injection.
something magical, like invoking a skill, or whatever it is in the harness, we know that it's actually doing what it says it is. Like it's generating some TypeScript, it's doing this, it's doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because the vision is that we want everything to be deterministic as much as possible. So that means we want the AI to do as little guessing as possible.
Yeah,
Right?
and dude, I think also one thing that comes to mind on this is that by being able to trace everything that happens, if let's say you do have like a cyber attack and someone comes in with a prompt injection or comes in and tries to, poison your model, you should be able to see those additional events happening in the algorithm trace.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
also, this isn't just, I know we're talking really technically at the moment because it's kind of the dev part,
Yeah.
but this actually
Well, I think
compounds to the user experience as well, right? So like,
100%. And the dev part is honestly like it's so necessary nowadays.
yeah,
Even if you're not technical, I think that most people, and especially Gen Z or younger, um, they're gonna want to at least have the ability to see what's happening, or at least those that are into this space. They want
yeah,
to at least have that option rather than it just being a black box, especially once it starts misbehaving and you're so dependent on it. Like you reach a point where you're like, shit, I'm so dependent on this thing that it's not behaving how I want it to behave, and I need to do something to fix that, because when it behaves the way you want it to behave, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's like, this is absolutely epic, right? But as soon as it starts misbehaving because your system's gone wild, it's grown out of control, things are no longer referencing, the right place, and sometimes it just happens from hallucinations where you're just at the end of a work your context window, your effective context window, and then next thing you know, it's saving something in
yeah,
root where it's not supposed to. Like,
yeah. And,
yeah.
I think there's like three ways to think about this. Like, I get a lot of value for this because it helps me learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it helps me learn
Absolutely.
my
Yeah.
system in ways that I wasn't technically proficient, even though I've got a pretty good idea. But this really takes it up a level. Number two is, it allows you to verify things, and not just by asking the AI, not just by
Yeah.
saying, is this happening? And you have to trust it blindly. It opens up the black box, so that's number two. And number three is how this can compound. So let's take this to like a user thing. Let's say you wanted to set up like an agent that goes and, like, I don't know, scrapes Instagram for cool like posts that you want to then use in another system that creates reels or some cool like thing like that, right?
Yeah.
You want to see what's actually happening. Is it just going and doing a web fetch, and just going off and searching some stuff? Or is it actually sending 10 agents, and are each of them doing
Well,
something different? And you want to see all those things happening. And the architecture is this, it's the same principle. Yeah.
dude, yeah, absolutely. And it makes me I think another use case for this that is super valuable is most people, myself included, will download skills from other people or agents, right? Maybe a friend of yours builds out a package of skills, or someone that you really trust on YouTube builds out a package of skills or agents. You download that. Well, you've downloaded a few. You've asked your system to also create its own. Now, whenever you're calling maybe a research function, you have two skills from Measler that are research functions. You have maybe a couple from Carpathy. Maybe you have a few from, I'm thinking like Julian, that one marketing guy, right? Like you have packages from all these people to do research, and now your system's like, oh, do research.
Yeah,
How
like,
did you
are
pick
you
what I use? Yeah,
like,
how do you know?
yeah, are you
Mhm.
auto invoking, or could you just have a little button
That too.
that
Yeah.
you click, and then it gives you an option of which type of research you want to do, and then you click it, and then it just goes off and does it, and then you get to see it actually doing it in real time,
Yeah.
and seeing like if the scrape failed, or if it got stuck at a captcha, or like, there's all sort, you can break it down in so many cool ways. That's that's kind of the amazing thing here. And let's talk about Jarvis for a minute, right?
Absolutely
Like,
crucial. Mhm.
we've all seen the Instagram clips and a couple of people pitching these Jarvis systems, right? Some of them are theater, and some of them are kind of a bit more than theater, where someone just goes, hey Jarvis, and the music starts, and all the screens pop up. It looks so cool, right? And the thing is like, the truth is that if you just download a system like that, how do you actually know that it's not theater? How do you actually know that it's not just been coded that way? Well, you can ask AI, but even the answers AI give you, if you're not technical, you're not able to challenge and ask the right questions. It's kind of the unknown. And so the idea here is we create this system in a way where the information is undeniable, and the AI has the tools that we've built to actually get the answers. Because a lot of the time, the answer is actually that it's not that the AI can't confirm. The real answer might be, and I've never seen AI answer like this, but this is actually the real answer a lot of the time, is I can create you a tool to give you the correct answer, but it never answers that, right? And so you have to say that, can you create me a tool? Oh yeah, I could just do this. And you go, great, do it. Oh, great, I've done it. And then you say, okay, can you put it in a dashboard so I can see the output? It's like this should be inherent in the system. It should never have to ask. You should never have to ask that question. The information should be there.
Yeah, and ideally, if it does mess up, it should inform you later on that it did.
Yeah, exactly. But it won't be, again, it shouldn't even have to inform you. There should be a process that is deterministic. And when I say deterministic, I mean not AI, I mean code.
Yeah.
That actually says this is what's actually going on. And if your issue is that you're not technical, like I'm not a developer, I've never ever coded, and I just vibe, pure vibes, right? Then how does it produce that output? And that's what I want to show people. Like, we can even ignore the technical stuff and just do a use case where we pretend we're someone that doesn't understand any of this, and just look at the answers it can give us because we've created this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool. So anyone can use this. That's the idea. If it's too technical, then we've done it wrong, because it should be so simple. It should be undeniable, completely deterministic, right?
Yeah. So let's see what else we have here. A couple other sections.
I guess just the next thing is, where am I? So when we start the build for Reels, I'm going to start.
What is the discipline? Is that something we can go over?
Yeah. So we will. In fact, let me just check. So discipline, today's log. Okay, what's next? Perfect. This is perfect. So discipline is just kind of, this is all the admin stuff that happens automatically, so I don't have to tell it. So the idea that we do this in vertical slices, we've touched on that already, I think, right? The way we develop. Per slice gates, so that means we stop after one slice and we complete UAT testing, which I'll go over, which is basically user acceptance testing for people that aren't technical, but most people might know what that is. It's basically real world, like do this, click this, check that actually happens, and you as the user do it. It's not programmatic tests where the AI can just run all these things and look at the terminal and see what the console logs say and say, oh, it's working, right? It's actually, I'm not seeing it the way it's meant to be on the screen, right? So that's the UAT no theater rule, which is basically observed against expected. So what am I expecting to see? Is that actually what I observe, right? Artifact sweep, which is a whole bunch of stuff, which again, we'll see it in real time. So I think I'll leave that. Commits explain why. When I've got this set up, so when it does a commit to GitHub, it's the why, not the how, right? So that's quite important. GitHub safety, that's just this is my personal preference thing, so I don't know how important that is, but this is the way I do it. I do PRs only, which are pull requests. So I PR then merge, no forced pushes, no silent destructive ops. It's just a safe way to work, and I feel comfortable that way.
Yeah.
So I systemize it. Decisions for the future, this is an important one. So I've got this document that gets filled up, which basically says, if I'm currently working in Windows on this machine for the MVP, but actually I use Mac quite a lot, and actually I might want to build this entire thing on Mac. So there's a lot of kind of little technical nuance between those two things, like the root directory being home and other runtime things. So this is technical stuff, but basically I say to the AI, like I'm also might want to do this on Mac and keep it in the same thing. So what are the changes as I go, not after I've done it and search the whole system, which is way too much context, right? And it's obviously going to make mistakes and miss things. right? So as I go on these little slices, I say, what is the specific Windows stuff that I need to port and do differently when it's on Mac, right? And a lot of the heavy lifting there is the choice of the technology. And this is like thinking about architecture up front. It's important that you communicate to AI, I think, that your plan is to port across so it doesn't use any tools that are very kind of one operating system agnostic. Not agnostic, but opposite of agnostic, right?
Yeah, they're particular. They only work with one system. It's
Yeah, and the last one is just at the end after a slice. I always get this like output that says what's coming next, so I can challenge if it was in the right sequence because I didn't read the PRD, right? And so the idea is that it explains it to me in layman terms, so it doesn't get too technical. I'm going to change the PTY file and right? It's like we're going to do this bit of the feature that does this, and I need to update some files, and then not too dumbed down, but like a layman kind of thing. And I've wrote like a special prompt for that, right? So that's what that does. And then I've got today's log, which you don't need to read, but this is about issues that I faced and lessons learned, because I also have a lessons learned, so it feeds back in memory, right? So that's a thing that's self-improving kind of as you go and you build out the system. And a documentation thing where you document the system as you go so that you can then have future options like self-healing and upgrade systems where it just knows everything, right? Like C4 has got a lot to do with that, right? So that's probably like the next thing you do straight after the MVP is done, right? But it's just something you keep a log of all the issues. And then, of course, this is the important thing and the last thing I think that's worth going through, which is what's next? What are we actually about to do, right? Which is the next slice, right? And the answer is I got all these events working for this first thing, which is when you submit a prompt, the submit prompt I've wrote, and it hooks and it sends off to TypeScript, and that TypeScript injects this E3 classifier to determine the effort that's required. But everything is just on a feed now, and it's a long reel, and it's a bit hard to process. So I'm going to add a expand and collapse and bucket things from a prompt together so that I can actually like look and say the prompt was please refactor the auth flow, and I can just minimize it and pull it and see things as they go. And I can also clear all of this because this log is indefinite, right? So it will keep building up, and that can cause RAM issues, right? So because it's an MVP, I haven't really thought about the limits on that. Like I might only want 5 megabit or whatever it is, still technical stuff that you'd evaluate. But for now, I just said, give me a clear button so that I can do that, right? So basically all that does is it goes into the JSON-L file, which is where all this stuff is kept as per Claude's architecture. And then I can just hit clear and it just deletes it. That's really it. So that's what I'm hoping we're going to end up with, right? But I don't know, right? We're going to do it for real. It could be a complete fucking mess. Oh, excuse my language. It's a real fudging mess. And it may not work, right? But that's half the fun, right? So I thought this is the one where we could start, and then we can just keep going. I mean, I don't mind. So see how we go. Cool.
Dude, let's jump into it then if
awesome.
You're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
On Glitch.
So what do I got here? I got a fresh context window here. And so what I could do is, so this is, I got a couple of tabs open. One is just a place where I'm running the server that I want to open the application on, which is Electron. That's fresh here. I'm running it from this. I just need to make sure I'm in the right directory. Well, I already was, sorry, I beg your pardon. So I'm already in this glitch MVP directory. And so what I could do, just for an example, is I could bun run dev to start the app, and this is where we are, right?
Here, real quick. So it's trying to figure out what would be the best way to get the most. Let's see, can I hide myself?
I could also try. Oh no, I can't zoom.
Get the most out of our screen space.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for us to get used to that, right? Yeah. I think it's a good opportunity.
Everything is really easily visible. Let's see. Man, I know that I can hide myself. Also, I wanted to go actually off of that was one of the things too, off of the welcome screen so that we can see the upper left-hand corner and we don't have that breaking news blocking any of it because we want to see the whole screen if possible.
Yeah.
I think this might be our best. best bet. And there we go. Sorry about that. Okay.
No problem. Actually, this gives me a good opportunity to just test something. I want, because this auto loads Claude via auth, as you saw when I opened it. I just want to see when I exit if we put in a reload. Yeah, we did. Okay. So it says that the process ended and I can just restart it, and hopefully that will just, restart Claude. Okay, fantastic. And there you go. I've got my little what happened there, spawning Claude.
Sweet.
Okay, fantastic. So when you're ready, and we might see some artifacts because I'm testing this render. I tried WebGL for the terminal and it caused some issues. So I went back and anyway, some technical stuff, nothing scary, just small little MVP things, right? Okay, good. So shall we kick it off? So there we go. So as you can see, I guess the point I wanted to make here was just to show you there's no buttons up here, right? And you can just see these, look at the reels from all my testing from the previous, right? Yeah, it's good. The information is there. I got a card number. I've got what the actual thing is. So it's a hook or it's something happening in the harness, or if it's something from the algo. I've got a timestamp, right? Which is the time in hour. In my case, it's the UK, right? So this was at 3 o'clock today, 20 minutes, 3 seconds and sub-seconds, because of course these things happen very quickly. So it helps to have that. So that's just there. And of course these expand, right, as you can see, and it tells me the actual thing that it relates to. But obviously at the moment, you see I have to click them, then unclick them again. And if I do a few of them like so, right, I've got no way to now collapse these. I have to literally go in them one by one, right? You can see. Yep. So as a user thing, it's a bit uncomfortable. So that's what this slice is all about. It's about making all of that a lot easier to understand. I want to be able to clear all these. I want to be able to bucket the ones that relate to a certain prompt, you know, and all that kind of stuff, right? Is that clear? So you know what we're expecting to see?
That is clear. Now, one of my questions I do have is I look at the log and I see that the timestamps for some of them, it looks like are the same. And this is a really, really nitpicky question, but do you know if it's measuring out any further, or if it's kind of guessing as to what the order of those?
No, so the sequence is definitely correct, right? Because the timestamp is kind of indicative. It's not actually using that to decide the sequence. And in fact, this is a great question, right? So let me show you why. What I'll do is I'll open up a separate terminal for this.
You have me thinking back to my science days.
Oh, sorry.
Where how well
it's a great question.
Measure something is really everything, and so if you can't measure something with a lot of accuracy, then no,
it's a great question. So the question is, how do we know that the event? Oh, let me use my whisper flow. Cards in algorithm trace are in the right sequence and order. I know that the timestamp is indicative, but can you just explain the technical rationale that we know that this is correct? So just like a simple question. It's a great question. It's the kind of question I would ask in the process. I know that it is, and it's going to explain it now, and we'll get the answer for you.
You know, yesterday, man, I was tempted to try building this myself because I was like, ooh, I really want to know the trace of what fired when, what order, what the payloads were. Like I have one.
And you can do all events, right? But that becomes very difficult. You have to kind of sequence it correctly. So yeah, I'm gonna show you now. It's going to explain this in just a second. So while that's just ticking along, what I'll also do at the same time is I'll get this this slice going. Yeah, what do you think? So I'm just going to type a command, which is resume glitch next slice work, right? I'll let that tick over. I'll go back and check that. Now, as you can see, our server is up, so I should probably exit that. So let me just do that. I can just do Control C, of course, in the terminal, right? Just to shut down the server. And here we go. Good question. The order does not come from timestamps, which is what I was explaining to you. Timestamps are decorative. Cards 1 to 3 and 9 to 12 are all generated within the same hook process in a few hundred microseconds and collide in millisecond resolution, and that's why we don't use timestamps, right? So source side, the order is a hard-coded array, not a sort, so it explains that. The single atomic OS append, because it's actually taking that information from the appended file sync here. So this is on NTFS, APFS. This is technical stuff, but okay, so and you know what we'll do? I'll tell you what we'll do. This is the answer, append only file. Okay. Now, explain this to me in layman terms so that maybe someone that isn't as technical can understand. And this is, what all users should be doing, right? It's fine that it communicates to me like this because that's the relationship I've got with my coding agent, because that's how I've set it up. But you can always just ask, in layman, right? And so I'm going to ask it and we'll see what it comes back with. But that's the reason. It's deterministic, reversed, and prepend. In other words, it's coming from a source, right? And here it is. Think of it like a kitchen printer or a restaurant. Fine. The recipe is written in a fixed order, right? And they're written to the file in one go, right? So it already knows the order before it appends, right? Only one cook in the kitchen, so it can't be any conflict, right? And the file is append only. New cards only ever get added to the bottom, so the position in the file equals the order they happened, right? And it is as simple as that. It's no different to having just a stream of events as they come in. So you can actually have confidence that the sequence that you're seeing is correct. And the time is just, like I say, it's just a way to kind of see when things go together and maybe help you debug a couple of things in the future. Is that okay?
Sweet, dude. Yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome.
Okay. So back to this slice that we started over here on the left. So what are we doing here? Now, as you can see, I closed Electron, so we don't see the app anymore. But let's see what this is doing. So I've only just said to it, let's remember the prompt. The prompt was resume glitch next slice, and we had cleared context when we started, right? Oh, look what it's done. It's tried to load GSD progress, right? Which is one of the plugins that I have with the Ralph Wiggin loop, but that's not what I wanted, right? So let's see what's happened here, right? This is why you've got to keep an eye on things, right? Progress, that's correct. That's correct. Recent work, current position. Next up, the right rail transparency polish, which is correct to add the expand and collapse and all that stuff, right? Files here. So what I'm saying, update plan status. Okay. And while that's going, I'm just going to make a point. I noticed that you invoked the GSD skill. I just want to be clear that I don't want to use that pipeline or workflow or skill. I want to follow our existing pattern of development. Okay, so there we go. It's been, that prompt got injected there. So just, I don't think it is doing that, but just in case, right? I think it auto-invoked it. So just something to be careful of, right?
Yeah.
This should be following our plan, which I could always check, right? So if I go into my planning files here, let's have a look. Now, of course, you can use a IDE or a code editor. Look, see, dropping the GSD sil. I'll continue using the existing glitch pattern, plan.md and slice A5. Do you see? So it was doing it wrong. Now, that's a really easy way to cock up, right? Because what that might have then done is updated my files in ways that were unconventional to the ways that I told it to update things. And that's one of the reasons vibe coders make mistakes. Imagine now this, if you've got loads of skills. Now, I can fix this very easily by simply going into my GSD skill, into the front matter, and making invocation false. In other words, you have to use a slash command to invoke, and it can't do auto invocation like it just did there. Yeah. And this is why I always say to people, be careful about having auto invocation, which is the default, where it kind of picks up a description in the front matter and then it just fires, right? So it's a great real-time example, right? And then I'll say, while it's doing that, which is great, it's already started, I'm just going to say, I just want to be sure that during that period in which the GSD skill was invoked incorrectly, that we didn't update statuses or any files incorrectly. And can we just ensure that we recursively reset to using our plan as we have been doing for all of our delivery up until now. So again, this is being the orchestrator, right? And just making sure that we maintain that discipline. That's one of the things that I find really helps me. I'm curious about you, actually. Do you ever come across problems like this when you're working?
Yeah, man. This is like textbook, truly textbook, because oftentimes it's that first step or that first initial phase in the plan where it messes up, and then everything is off direction, right? It's like they have to sail a long way, and that initial angle is off by quite a bit, but everything else would be correct. You still end up
Right.
into the wrong place, and that's what I see so often, even with my own system, is that first little bit. There's a chance that it goes off in the wrong direction, and if it does, it's by enough that it's a substantial enough amount that it changes the final result.
Yeah, totally. That's the same thing I feel. And it's interesting because I've got auto mode on down here, you see. And so that would have just flown through if I just gone to make a coffee or something. Can you imagine? So it's always worth, even with auto mode, I think this is what I'm starting to think, that you just sit down for the first few minutes until you start seeing it working, and then it's opened up these tasks and there's nothing of concern there, right? And then you can walk away for a little bit, right? I think it's worth doing. So it's very easy to miss that. So here we go. Look, audit done. No GSD pattern files were created. All edits follow the standard glitch slice protocol. Here's what we've actually touched. Great. And it says our planning artifact, which is correct. And then it says slice start, which is the way it audits where we are in the process. This is my persistence protocol, so that if I cancel out now or something like that and I say resume, it knows that where we were, basically. And it tells me some event card TypeScript files that it was updating, because we know we're dealing with that right rail, that thing that we're going to start doing the collapse and expand. It's basically this thing here, right, on my right of my screen. So this is the rail here. So that's what it's doing. Files not created. Memory, one feedback memory created. No GSD skill pipeline. So I've got my memory being updated in line with my lessons learned, which is a part of my system. But very easy to set up yourselves. Nothing fancy going on there. This is standard Claude stuff. If anyone wants to see that and know how I do that, we can do that another time as like an education thing, right? But nothing fancy there. We've all got our own version of that, right? So that's fine. So it's just continuing, right? So what does it say at the end? Ready to resume step 2 right here. So it actually paused. That's interesting. So even though I've got auto mode on, it waited for me to answer that question before it continued, which is really nice. So I'm just going to say, yes, thank you. Continue step 2. Great. And there we go.
That is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it won't always do that. You see, this is the thing.
Yeah.
But, it's just I think we got lucky tonight, But that's kind of, this is why I really enjoy going through these processes. And I think the more, because we've been practitioners, both of us, you know that you've done so many things for clients and stuff, and you come across these problems. And this is it's just kind of, you learn how to orchestrate, don't you? And you're no longer doing the coding or doing the work yourself, depending on what kind of job you're in, right? You might not do any coding, right? It might be marketing or whatever, right? And you set up skills to do it. But the point is that now you have to learn that your role is to orchestrate, and your role is to, this is the classic agentic engineering philosophy, right? Is that you set up everything, you make sure it's following a certain way of doing something, whatever works for you, right? Yeah. And there's loads of tips. I'm just showing you how I do it, right? It's not the only way, right? It's just what works for me,
That's so true too. Is you have to be a manager, and whenever you phrase it that way, it's like you can't be a lazy manager. I'm sure we've all had lazy managers who didn't give great directions. They just expected that everyone would know what to do, and sometimes that worked out, sometimes it didn't. And it's the same thing here, where if you're a lazy manager, sometimes it'll work out and it'll build it correctly, sometimes it won't.
That's right. And keeping an eye on these diffs is quite helpful. So you can see here, like in this little section, You might not understand this stuff, right? Some people are not technical, so maybe they just trust it. But if you just start looking at it, it makes sense, right? If you know what the phase is delivering. So here, we're creating the class name, which is the group header. And what that means is, like I said, it's this thing here. So that's a group header. And then when you click this, and so I already kind of know what it's doing.
Well, and bro, if not, you can always take a screenshot. That's
Right.
one of
That's
my
one.
favorite functions. Yeah, is just take a screenshot and throw it into Claude or
Yeah.
your preferred LLM and ask it, hey, what's happening here?
Yeah. Well, I do that, but I kind of do it in reverse, actually, because what I do is I've got it to create the mock-up beforehand in HTML. So remember that my system gave me this picture beforehand.
You understand what it's saying too.
Right. And the reason is because of this. You see this little point here, and this is a good way to explain this: observe versus expected, right?
Oh.
So I want to know what I'm expecting to see, and so it has to be visual. So I ask it to do a mock-up for that reason. That's how I personally like to do it. I found that really helps me, if I'm honest with you. So
Dude,
yeah, and the chevron here.
When you went over that point on your HTML markup there, your I think it was the third point, the observation versus expected. Man, that clicked so much because it reminds me of doing research for the government, having to measure systems. And so the difference between what you expect to happen, because you go into measuring something normally with a hypothesis, you expect something to happen, and then you have your what actually does happen, your observation. And yeah, that your observation, like measuring it, is so important. If you can't measure it well, then you really can't say much about whatever you're doing or whatever you're trying to observe.
That's exactly, yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? How all these skills we've learned through jobs and stuff that we've done, they manifest. And so, yeah, I'm having a blast, man. I hope this is okay.
Yeah.
Because I know we're freestyling it, but I'm having a blast just going through this. Once again, looking at the diff, I can see that we're looking at the clear events modal. So this is our clear button,
real
right?
Quick. Sorry, I was just thinking, I had something really nerdy that I wanted to say off of what you just mentioned, of all of these different backgrounds and experience, how it all overlays. It's like the fundamentals are transmutable across different areas. So like if you understand the fundamentals of whatever space you work in or whatever niche, whatever your passion is, that transmutes over into this work as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because like the more diverse the skills or the people in your team, the more you can learn. Like marketers are really good at content creation and like what those pipelines should look like. Sales guys really understand pipelines for like CRM and lead generation, and so everyone's got the value. They just need to kind of ask the right question. Now there's something interesting going on here I want to show you. So you'll notice that there is a little thing here, TypeScript green, check green, running Lint. Now something I really love to do is I set up ESLint on every project. I set up a code review system in GitHub, and here we go. Look, it's loading up my screen now, right? So where are we? It's running the checks on the build that it's just done. You can see we've got some new things here to test in a second, as expected, right? We've also got this chevron here. Oh, look at that. It's already looking good. And so obviously our server will be up and running again. Oh, it was actually not appearing here, so that's interesting. But what it's doing now is it's checking the build. It's running Lint to make sure the code is good. It's saying Lint is green. It's running the build. There we go. Oh, so there's where the server is that it's opening. So instead of me opening it manually in the terminal, it's just done it for me. It says build is green. It's now smoke testing. Catches ESM only under JS. This is just a thing that can happen, that can fail silently. So I actually learned this by accident during the earlier phases, and part of my learning was to say, hey, in future, when we build anything, can we now check for that? So we're now going to be doing this smoke test every time.
What is that issue? That ESM only under CGS main?
Yeah, so let's clarify it. Yeah, let's clarify it in layman, right? So
use maybe the BTW function.
So here we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, we could do, but I'm going to let it run. That's a good idea, right? So what we're talking about. So what Chase is talking about, in case you guys aren't aware, which I love, and I don't use it enough. You're actually right. I could have just done
I
this
just started
BTW,
and it's
right?
amazing. Yeah.
Right. And what does it do? It kind of, it allows you to ask a question without taking up context from the current discussion, right? So I could do that BTW space, then the question. So it tells me there. So I can just put that in. R26, which is my rule 26, if anyone's wondering, catches ESM uncertainty. And I'd say, explain this in layman with its associated smoke test. Okay, and it's going to answer me. So this is not in the main context window, just to show BTW. And I'm going to go to see where resume glitches. So while that's going on, all 4 gates, these are my quality gates, right? When a lot of people will understand this if you work in development, one of the ways you make sure your code isn't sloppy, one of the ways, because AI is always going to produce somewhat sloppy unless you go into the code, but for the purpose of this and an MVP, you know, it's okay. You just got to make sure it works. So some of the quality gates I have is a type check, because that's, you know, TypeScript. One of the good things about TypeScript is it's really strict, even though some people hate it, but I think for this kind of purpose, it's great. I do my lint, my ES build. I check the build, of course. Most people get that automatically in AI. AI usually does that, you know, compiles and checks the build and stuff. My smoke test, and then marking and moving to UAT handoff, right? Now, so that's what it's doing. So now it's updating all of my administration that I was telling you about. So it's updating my plan status here. It's still plan status, so it's just updating my logs. And then it says here, A5 ready for UAT. A5 is this phase that we were doing, right? Act 5 here. And it says awaiting UAT, what's wired, it tells me what it's done. So that's cool, right? We already know kind of what it's going to do. And then it says UAT script, 8 sequential checks. So I've got 8 things to do for this particular one. First of all, there's programmatic checks, right? And it says I run myself, which is Claude talking to me, is what he's going to do. Visual checks below are yours, meaning me, the user, right? And it tells me what to do, right? It says launch the dev build, run dev. It says let it idle until the right pane shows, no events yet, or a replayed prior session that we walked through. So this dev environment is no longer open because it's obviously been shut. So we'll do that in a moment. But just before we do that, let's see what this response was on R26. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
So it says, here's R26 in plain English with the smoke test that catches it. The problem in everyday terms, our app has 2 halves that talk to each other. The main half is the engine room that runs in an older dialect of JavaScript called Common JS. Think of it as British English. And the renderer half, what you see on the screen, runs in a newer dialect called ESM. Think of it as American English, right? When we install a third-party library, each library is written in one dialect or the other, right? So most older libraries speak both, but a lot of popular libraries we started using only speak one or the other. So if we accidentally install one of those libraries that only speaks one of those languages, right, and it tries to use it, the app crashes the moment it tries to load it, not when we build it. Right? So we don't know it during building, but only programmatically. Not when we type check it, which is one of the quality gates we do, only at runtime. And the second a real user opens the app, Electron pops up an ugly native error box, which is a big JavaScript, you know, error on the screen, like when an app on Windows goes, burp, burp, you know, it comes up with the error. So that's what actually would happen. And this is just the lesson to make sure we preempt that so we don't waste time, basically. And so that's what it is. So that's what it's checking. And it says like down here, known landmines and a couple of other things, right? Does that answer your question, Chase?
Yeah, so it's like a translator.
Exactly, kind of, yeah. Well, it's more that it's not actually a translator. It's just the fact that if you install the wrong piece of software, just so you know, in this particular slice we just did, this couldn't have happened, right? Because this is when you, so this is a good example of this, is when I installed the terminal window, that was running in term.js. Then I thought I would add WebGL to it, which is another JavaScript library to help with the rendering. And they were different. One was in ESM because it was on the latest version and one wasn't. So that's what caused the crash. So this is just something that can happen in developments. And the worst part is, in my case, the error was obvious because it crashed and it was open. But sometimes these can fail silently, right? And so now we're just testing that to make sure that none of that's happening. And also that we don't reintroduce the problem. You know, let's say accidentally the AI updated a version or something because it was trying to do something else, right? And it thought, oh, the new version, I need to go up one version to make this thing work that we're just developing now. And it forgets that before there was this problem, right? And so it shouldn't be doing that. It should be pinned. And this is also one of the reasons I'm tracking here. I didn't show you earlier, but it's one of the reasons I track here the technology, but also the pin. So we can track that. So the system understands it. So when it needs to check this, it can just look it up.
Dude, that's huge, because I actually ran into what I suspected was an issue stemming from versions, a change in multiple different versions. And ultimately ended up actually just being that I needed to run some SQL code to update a table in Supabase because it wasn't going to render otherwise. But looked a little bit into this and realized, oh crap, like this is a rabbit hole of potential landmines.
Yeah, and I would say it's also good security practice to pin your versions and never to have auto updating, because it can, number one, cause conflicts, right? Which can cause things to break, but also because, like you saw what happened with Axios, right? You know, you don't want an auto update and it's been corrupted and suddenly you got a Trojan on your computer. You know, you always want to have some stability.
Dude, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually how it happened. That's how it hit most people, with the auto update push from GitHub. Yeah. So they were corrupted and then people got it. Yeah.
What's your recommendation on updating then versions of packages?
Yeah. So my
general that or decide when to or when not to.
Yeah. So my general rule of thumb is I always monitor change logs. And what I generally do is I generally have the attitude of don't upgrade. If I've got something that's working, I generally don't upgrade. But if I am going to, because it's been a while and I think there's some benefits that I can gain, I usually don't do it immediately.
Yeah.
I wait for a while, right? And I let the security community do their thing, you know? I think that's the safest approach at the moment, but that's just it's my personal thing, and I'm not a security guy, so
well, and
I don't really know. We should get a security guy on, actually. We know quite a few, right? So we should do that.
Yeah, and what, like the old saying goes, why fix what's not broken?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's really easy to get excited and want everything to be up to date, like OCD. I get OCD and I want it all to be like the latest version. But actually, in reality, I think sometimes it's better not to do that. I've fell victim to it. Not because of security, more often because things break, you know?
Well, and I think it's that misnomer that just because it's a newer version or a newer, it's newer, it's better. Not always the case.
Yeah. Windows 11 when it first came out, right? You know?
Yeah.
Or an early Mac OS update. Yeah, it's always painful, isn't it? It's always terrifying when the screen goes black and you think, oh no.
So, reminds me of the Xbox days. The red screen of death.
Oh yeah.
When you got the red screen of death, you just knew, you're like, oh crap.
There's so many out there. There's the wheel, there's the wheel of death, the Mac colorful wheel of death. That's that scary one. The little circle on Windows.
We got to be careful TOS on this topic, but yes,
Oh really? Are we not allowed to?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
YouTube.
We have to check our TOS. Yeah, we're new to the streaming.
Yeah, we do need to. That needs to be added to the to-do list. Check TOS.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. All right, cool. Whereabouts were we? So we were about to go into UAT. So you okay for me to continue, or?
Let's see. Yeah, A5, and you're going to walk us through kind of what the UAT is.
The testing, testing. Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to find some things here.
Unless we get started on it, I think then.
Yeah, awesome. So what is it telling me to do? Let's have a look. So I'm not, I have no idea. I got a rough idea of what I want to check, but let's see what it actually says, right? So it tells me it's going to do these programmatic things. And it says, right, launch the dev build. Okay, so let's do that first. So I go here. I'm already in the folder, so I don't need to CD to it, but I would have just CD'd into it, right? Then I get the dev up, the dev server, which is my bun run dev, and I hit enter, and that's going to get my app open. There we go. So now the server is up, and that's my log. Okay, great. So we've done that part. Let's go back. What do we need to do? It says here, I'm going to just pull this screen over to the right because I don't need the nice looking window for now. I just need to be able to see both. There we go. Disadvantage of having just one screen, I'm afraid. Yeah. Now let's have a look. So down here, 2 prompts, okay, so let it idle until the right pane shows no events yet. Well, I can see events, right? But that's fine. Or a replayed prior session, which is this, replayed prior session, and then walk through. Okay, so 2 prompts, 2 visually distinct groups, type 2 prompts. Okay, let's try something. I'm going to try the clear button first of all. There's a risk because it doesn't say to do that, but I'm just going to try and do it just because if it says clear all 77 cards across 11 prompts, this wipes events JSON-L on disk, cannot be undone. Yes, clear. Great. Completely fresh session, right? Mm-hmm. So this is where we're going to see it happening in real time, right? So it says 2 prompts, right? So I'm going to type a prompt into Claude, and that should generate these events, right? So we're going to type 2 prompts, and the rail shows 2 groups, newest on top. Okay, I'm going to ask it to be more specific. So let's say what I'd like for this UAT is for you to provide also the prompts that we're going to do. So currently I've cleared the algorithm trace, so there is no events, and I'd like you to provide the prompts as well as part of UAT so that we can remain consistent. Okay, that's not necessary. It's overkill. I could type anything in here and it would work, right? Mm-hmm. But I just want to make sure that there's no weird edge cases and that we don't say something silly, you know, as expected. So I'm just going to wait and see. Group collapse. Well, I've already proved the clear works, right? So that's one thing. We've jumped ahead, right? Yeah. So let's just wait and see. I'm surprised that worked on the first go, so that's good. And I also saw that the collapsing was worked, but you know, we're just going to do it anyway, right? Even when things feel like they're right, it's worth just following every step. I always find that one little nuancy thing, and it can come back and bite you later. This is quite a simple one, so I'm not too worried. So let's just wait and see. Sorry if this is taking a little bit of time, part of working with AI, right?
Yeah, that's all good. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the importance of the foundations. You know, everything that's built on top of this needs to work well.
Exactly. So here we go. Good call. Thank you, Claude. Here's the same 8-check script with explicit prompts to type, 3 prompts total, picked. So the second one exercises the 80-character truncation. Okay, so I wouldn't have even managed that. So the first question is prompt, refactor the email validator into explicit types. Okay, all 3 are mechanical coding tasks. The B3 classifier is still the inference disabled stuff. Okay, I understand this. Don't worry. It's just about something that's in the algorithm that we haven't covered, so don't worry about that. Okay, UAT script, setup confirmed. Rail is empty, no events yet. So we start from a clean slate. Yes. We've launched with bun run dev. Yes, we have. That's why we've got this thing open, and that's why this is here. Without bun run dev is here. Okay, good. Yep. Okay. And check 2 prompts, 2 visually distinct groups. Type P1, enter, wait for the rail to show 7 cards. Okay, so here's P1. I'm going to do this prompt. So we got, okay, I'll just type it. So refactor the, oh no, I won't, I haven't got voice working in the, in here yet. That's something I've got to do later. So refactor the email validator into explicit error types. Okay, right. Validator. Yeah, generally this is, I wouldn't mind about making mistakes, but just to keep things beautiful because we are in testing. Right, now watch this. I'm going to hit enter and boom, 7 cards, right? And the hook's fired. There's no errors here in the hook, so we know that's fine. And so what are we being told? It says, I can't find an email validator to refactor because the actual test project that I'm in, this is a silly prompt that doesn't make any sense, right? So that's fine. But what we care about is what happened when we hit that enter button, right? And the answer is we had a prompt, right? And that's the prompt, refactor. And what did it do? It showed me that the harness, the prompt was received, refactor the email validation. Okay, fine, good. And it checked the domain. Then the hook process spawned, right? Which meant the hook fired. It sent off via bun some TypeScript stuff. The stdin in, which is the prompt, went in, right? Session ID, so on, blah, 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 blah. Then the algorithm, this is what it then put, this is the injection. So it took our simple prompt, which was refactor the email validator, and then it added this into the prompt without us seeing it. It's just happening in the background. So we don't see that. Then, oh, look, injection occurs in Claude Code, not observable directly, so we can't see it, but the injection has happened. Claude Code merged additional context, which is this line here, right, into the prompt. So that happened. Card appended, so it went to the JSON-L, which is why we can now see it here as an event. And then it exited because the hook was done, so it finished. So that worked, right? So fantastic. We've got all of the events related to that specific action of me hitting enter, and the prompt submit hook, which is the one we've built as a test, is working, right? So that's great. So we did that. Wait for Rail to show 7 cards under one grow header. Then we're going to type the second one, because really what we're testing here is not that this works. That was in an earlier one. We're testing that we can like do this kind of stuff, right? So let's do the second one. I'm going to say add a TypeScript. This is a bit of a dangerous one because it could actually start trying to do it. TypeScript declaration files for every untyped helper module and ensure all exported functions have explicit return annotations. Okay. Now look at what just happened. Did you see that? It created the second one. Can you see?
Yeah, the next payload of...
Exactly. And then it says that there are no helper modules, because that's right, there aren't any, because this is just my test folder. And by the way, the test folder that I'm using is a sandbox. So I'm not using my actual Claude that I'm talking to over here for this. I'm using a sandbox version of Claude. And I can talk to you about that another time, because it's, when you're working on Claude within Claude and you're changing things like hooks, you have to be careful, because otherwise I'd actually be changing them in real time on my actual Claude, right? So I had to create this kind of little, safe space, which I did locally using my local app data folder, which is here. So this is my folder where the project is, and then I have a local app data where the sandbox is. Okay. All right, and what we can see here is what you said. It's the second payload, but more importantly, it's collapsible. It's nested now. Do you see? So now I don't have that big stream of just nonsense and I can't work it out, right? I now know exactly, and I've got the little prompt here as well to help with the truncation. That was one of the things we wanted to test, that it's not going to just create this big wall of text of everything that I wrote. It's going to truncate it. So I can see that. Okay, fantastic. Verify visually.
Oh man, that's looking fantastic, by the way. I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, I love the way that you have
I'm excited.
stuff, and also the fact that you can go into the individual cards and, you know, expand.
Yeah, man, it's cool, isn't it?
Into the JSON payload there. So
yeah, I'm so pumped. I actually can't believe that it's actually worked like that, you know, in one go. It's great. So this is it, and we've even got a bit of a summary. I didn't ask it to do this, but it, you know, like AI, it adds a few things. It even gives a summary: 14 cards across 2 prompts. That's kind of neat too. So there we go. So what are we checking? This is UAT. So check 1. 2 group headers. Yeah, that's right. We've got that. Each header shows 7 cards. Yes, they do. P1 header shows the full text refactor the email validator into explicit error types. Yes, it does. Refactor the email validator into explicit types. P2 stops at module. Well, now this is not correct because the screen's not full scale, right? So I would say this isn't really a pass. It actually doesn't do that, right? Now it's okay, but I'm gonna still let it know, right? So P2 header shows truncated it says add TypeScript declaration files for every untyped helper, and then it cuts off at helper, right? Can you see? Now that could be because, no, you see, it's not dynamic, it doesn't change. Now, the thing is, right, so I want to talk about this for a second. This is a good one. So this doesn't feel very important, right? This doesn't feel like a serious problem. It's still not a problem. I can see it fine. It's all right. But here's the thing: expected versus outcome, right? How do I know that this is some default truncation behavior in Electron, and it's completely broken something, and it's going to then reuse that somewhere else? It might use that code somewhere else. So this could be the start of a compounding problem, right? Now, I don't think it is, but it is. So what in UAT I find is really important is even though this isn't a big issue, I want to make sure that I'm clear about it and because it says here, or actually, to be fair, it does say or similar exact cut depends on 18 character boundary. So actually, it's probably fine, right? So what I'm going to do here is I've set up in my last slice that I should be able to, you see, I can't copy and paste that. That's interesting. See, I should be able to copy and paste. You see, I can that's interesting. So can I copy? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to just copy that. And I'm going to say, for check one, I just want to be completely transparent about what I see. It does look very nice in the UI, but the character number, I'm not sure is what we expected. I suspect this is fine, but just for the purpose of UAT and making sure that everything is exactly as expected versus outcome, this is what I see. Can you just verify that that's fine on your end and you have no concerns? The answer is definitely yes, right? But I just want to show you that this is the level of diligence I go through when it's UAT, and that I don't rush this process, right? I make sure that everything is as expected. So we've done that. That'll be fine. Hover over P2 header. Tooltip shows the full untruncated prompt. Each header has a chevron bar. Yes, we know that that works already. We've already done that, right? Check two, group collapse. Okay, so click P2, the newest one, which is this one here. And it's telling me it's got 7 cards with a chevron. It says click P2 header again, card returns with chevron. Okay, so let's have a look. Boom, 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 right? If I hit the chevron and open it, they're still open. Can you see? They haven't closed. Then if I do collapse all, they close. Expand all, they all open. Or I can just go in and collapse all and just click the one that I care about seeing. Can you see?
Yeah.
So that's nice, right? So that's working. So group collapse works, expand independence works, per card expand inside and expand group. So both groups expanded, click any single card. I think we just did that. Payload JSON pre-block expands beneath the summary. Yes. Click the same card again. Payload collapses. Yes. Yes, that sounds right too. Expand all, collapse all, clear the events at the end. So let's do that. Clear the events. Yes, clear. Good. And finally, click clear again. Modal appears. Interesting. I can't click clear again. Okay, fine. Oh, you know what I didn't test? I get it. It's testing me to do this. So test. There's my test prompt, right? What it was asking me to do was to click clear and not click yes, click cancel, and that the modal disappears, which it does, right?
Nice.
Right, yeah, so it was just checking there was no weird thing there, right? And so I said click clear again, modal appears. So this is clear, yeah, then click cancel or press escape, which is what I did there, but I didn't try escape, so let's try that. So clear, let's just click escape, that works, right, good. Right.
Full functionality of all the features. I love it.
We're checking everything, right? So modal dismisses, good.
Fantastic.
Rail unchanged still shows P3's groups. Okay, so let's do that. Let's try that. So let's try some weird things here and then hit clear, escape, nothing changes. Click clear, cancel, nothing changes. Collapse all, fine. All working great. Meta check. review the 7 prior verdicts. Okay, fine. So what I'm going to say here is verified. That's okay. Truncation is fine. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to just give it a little message now. Okay, I was a little bit hasty with this one, but what I did check is a lot of variations. I checked opening sum, expanding, collapsing randomly. I checked the chevrons. I tried collapse all, expand all. Everything's working. I hit clear. I canceled. I hit expanded, clear, canceled. I tried the escape function. I tried a lot of variations, and everything seems to be working as intended. Okay. By the way, when I'm doing the whisper flow, can you hear me talking, or do you just hear me go quiet for a bit?
No, we can hear you talking too.
Okay, cool. Because I can't hear you when I'm doing it, so I was just wondering if, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, the same thing happens whenever I've run whisper flow. Is other people can hear me talking, but I can't hear them. It completely cuts off all of the output, the audio output.
Yeah. So I'm wondering now how that's going. And look at this. This is quite an interesting thing while we wait for it to do that. So programmatic check on events JSON-L. That's 1 prompt's worth of cards with a fresh write up, reading that together. You describe the students applied, clear, white, yeah. 2 things I want to button up before I call Act 5 pass, just to confirm. Check 6 explicitly. So let's go to check 6. Check 6 was click clear in the rail header. Confirm modal appears, yes. That's when it comes up and says, do you want to clear? Verify modal text, something like clear all 14 cards across 2 prompts. This wipes JSON, yes, it does that. Click yes, clear. Modal dismisses, rail entities to no events, yeah. Tell me when you've confirmed visually. Because we didn't tell it to check programmatically, that's why it was confused. So I'm going to clear here, right? And I'm going to say, you're right to have asked that question. Apologies, I didn't read it in full. What I've now done is cleared, not deleted, the 7 cards that you correctly observed, because it was only 1 prompt after I had messed around with all of the other tests. But I've now cleared it so that you can conclude programmatically that check C has a success path. Okay, I'm just gonna give it that. The trim and polish question for my prior message, I didn't get a yes or no. I need to read that one. So ship as is, all with gap before ellipses, or apply the 1-line trim end. So it's asking me at the moment, it's got the ... at the end, right? And it's just, I think it's just asking me if I want to make it like a 1 word and just end, but I actually like it as it is. This is not a big thing, but this is what AI does sometimes. It gets very pedantic. But for me, what's important is just that it truncates, right? So not a major thing, but I will answer it anyway. And then you're going to hopefully see the programmatic end to the process for the slice, where it updates everything. And what I want to say while it's still doing this, Chase, is, okay, hold on. Event JSON-L has 0 bytes in it, right? Because we just cleared it. So that's cool. Act 5 UAT verdict, 8 out of 8 passes. Amazing. I can't believe we didn't get any bugs. Amazing. Brilliant. Wow. Decision on the trim end polish, taking your silence, everything is working as intended. Yeah, so it's telling me that, but I should have answered it, right? Just be careful with stuff like that because it can make assumptions. It happens to be right in this case. Now look at this. I'm not touching anything. Mm-hmm. It's now doing the slice journal and lessons entry. So this is my memory system in my own system.
Nice.
So this is automatic. I don't have to tell it. It's updating the slice journal to say, we've done it and we've run the tests. And what you'll notice is we're at 166K tokens, which is amber for me. At 200, I'm red, or 180, I'm red. That's when context rot can happen. But the issue with context rot and attention sinks is that it doesn't remember too much from the earlier part of the context. And that's why when it's coding and stuff, it can make mistakes. But what it's actually fine to do up to about 300,000 tokens or 350 is just updating administrative stuff when it's very well documented and structured. So I think our context is in a really healthy place. I've got no issues or concerns. But the way you manage that, I think everyone does it differently. But the way I like to do it is how I should really frame it, is it's about the size of the actual slice, right? It's not about, anything else. So
You mean like what the task is going to be that you trust it to do?
yeah, like
How big that slice is?
yeah, if it's trying to one-shot the whole MVP, that's not a good idea, right? You
Totally.
you understand that it's doing something very specific, and that the only thing you're testing is related to one sub-process. In this case, it was the collapsing, expanding logic for the algorithm trace bar, right?
Mhm.
And so that's, if anything goes wrong, I know it's going to be in that one place. It's isolated. It's like the modular question you had earlier. The blast radius is very small. So if something goes wrong within UAT, I don't think, oh, is it something that happened over here that's now caused this break over here? It's kind of, it's just easier to manage, right? And so it's just kind of engineering your whole system to work. I'm quite comfortable to sit here up to 400,000 tokens now while it updates, because it's all just really simple. So you can see here, it's updated my lessons. It's updated the plan status, of course, because it's saying I've done this part now and the UAT is done. It's updated my journal, right? It's now going into my Git process, right? So what it's going to start doing is this, where is it? My GitHub safety process, right? So it's doing that. So it's adding my the relevant files. And as you can see down here in my status bar, we're still working on that slice. So it's not on main yet. So we're going to wait. It's going to create a pull request here. That's the pull request, right? It's going to, and of course, I can of course go and see this. Oh, you weren't meant to see that. That was my plan for the algorithm. And look, you can see here my context window and all that kind of fun stuff and data that's going to come later in the MVP.
Yeah.
But this gets a bit more interesting. But let's leave that for now. I'm not sure why Gucci Prada is coming up. I think it's from some old video game. Here we go. GitHub. We've got some fun things. Glitch MVP.
Oh, we got the goat.
Your main branch isn't protected. That's right, because I'm using the CLI, but I manage it through the process that I'm taking. So I'm okay with that. 86 commits, so quite a lot of action. Here we go. Oh, I missed that, but it created the PR and merged it because I've already given it the approvals. So that's fine. No deletions. So here we go. So PR done. So I'm now live. That's now implemented. The branch, the one commit ahead of main, right? Tells me the little GitHub stuff that I like. Now, again, this is personal, right? Everyone does this different. Now, look at this. Awaiting your approval, destructive step ahead. Okay. Next action is to merge and delete the branch, right? So let's see if I can get this to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's merge. So you can see down here, we're not on main yet. We're on the, it's ready for merge, but we're not there yet. We're on the branch, and the branch is the slice that we did, which is down here. And I'm very happy to do GitHub lessons for people that aren't technical, but this is basically it. Right now you can see it's happening. Now it's gone to main. Now I want to see if it does this thing. Let's see. I would love it. We're on auto mode, so I'm kind of hoping. Let's see. I think because I approved before, it might be in permissions. That's the only thing I'd have to remove. I want to see if it asks me before it deletes the, let's see, deletes the branch after it's merged. PR merged. Now the R9 artifact sweep on small chore branch. Okay. Now this is interesting. So this is more administration. So what it's doing now is it's looking at, oh, where'd they go? The files have gone. It's going to do the portability and stuff update, which we'll touch on in a second. Hold on. Because then we would have gone through the full cycle of a whole development cycle, right? A whole slice, including testing and the full thing. And we can take a pause there and talk a little bit maybe. But just so we see it, here we go. Switch to a new branch. plan status has been merged because I have that on my private GitHub for this. It's not get ignored. There we go. Good. So this is the updating the plan. Deleted this because it's now been merged. Okay, good. Now V1 backlog. Act 5 entry to past tense and trim end cosmetics. So you know that decision we made about the truncation?
Mhm.
It's adding it because it wasn't sure of whether or not I wanted to change my mind later. So it's put it on my V1 backlog. V1 backlog is basically all the little features I come across and I think, oh, that would be nice, but I'm not sure that I'm going to do it in MVP, right? And that's usually when I pick up something like, it would be cool if we could do this in the future and I don't want to forget, you know? And so it's basically automatically done that for that particular point because it had to make a decision on its own autonomously because I never confirmed it. But there it is. So it's now gone into the V1 backlog automatically, right? Now the flows extension. So this is going to be updating the events log tail and render MD. Okay, good. And you can see all of this is automatic, right? It's part of the process of it does the GitHub, it asks me to merge, yes. Then it goes to the next artifact stuff. And this is all, you can see the context is now at 214K because it's doing a lot of writing, right? Which uses up obviously a lot of tokens. But there's no risk here doing this. This is very safe to do. And I'll be curious to see if it updates what's next on my HTML. We'll see. I'm not sure if I persisted that change, so we'll see. Just a bit of waiting around, I'm afraid, Chase. Sorry about that, bud.
It's all good, dude. I was actually wondering, do you have Slack on your phone? Are you using your phone right now?
Not right now. I'm actually using it as a camera, but I do have Slack here. But if I open it up, they're gonna the stream will see it. So I'm guessing you probably don't want to do that.
All good. All good.
Well, you did say that we needed a way to communicate. Now, what we could do is you could, while this is just ticking over in the background, because I can always play it back, you can just stop the share screen and I'll quickly have a check. Sorry, guys. Chase obviously has some seriously private stuff to tell me.
Yeah, some pressing login.
Yeah, gonna tell me off.
Auth things.
Is it? You just tell me when, because I don't want to even touch it until you tell me, because I can't see.
Oh, you're good. It's off. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
good. So let me open up my Slack. Ah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Auth. It is auth question. Okay, I see the message now. Let me have a look.
Yeah, and here I'm sending you a new.
Okay, I don't see anything now. Now I see it. Yes. Okay.
I heard it.
Yeah, let me type it to you because I have it on silent when the camera's on, you see. Let me just, this is what happens when you don't have a second screen, you see. Ideally, I would have this private stuff.
I was about to say, man, I think you're doing the most with
what I got.
Least.
Yeah, I'm trying. That first character is actually a this. Sorry, not a this. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna minimize my screen now. I'm gonna.
Yeah, you are all good.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, it said it was wrong.
Oh, really?
Oh, never mind. I'm just can't say what I am on YouTube.
Yeah. Sorry, it's an auth. So those wondering, we've got a shared auth for a couple of things, and so because we work together, and I had a verification on my side for the phone verification, and so he's just trying to access it, and I was just giving him the confirmation code. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just check my screen is up and running. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. My camera's back. Fantastic. I'm gonna check the status of this. Merge approval. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so it's done all the updates, but I'm going to wait for you to get back before I show this
Cool.
last bit. So
I'm gonna, yeah, turning it on now. Cool. You were sharing screen.
Awesome. So it just did while we were kind of away fixing auth issues. It was just, as you can see, uploading a whole bunch of files, right? As you see. Then what it does in the final step, and again, I haven't typed anything yet, right? As you can see, there's no prompts here. It says to me at the very end, it does this breakdown thing where it says ready for final merge and handoff. The reason it gives me this warning there is because I might now feed back to it and give it some more critical information. And so you don't want to lose that, right? And so the process does one final check. And then what it does is it tells me I'm folding the R8 pre-clear briefing in below, so you have a full context before approving. So what it's asking me is merge approval, destructive, need plain text. So this is that guardrail that I was telling you about. You know, the delete of the branch, because now that we've merged it, I'm now asking it. So we've merged it, and now we have to delete the branch, and it won't just do it, even though I said do it. It's actually saying I need it in plain text, right? So this is a protection of this auto mode in Claude, which is so cool. So that's cool. But what it also does is it tells me about the next slice. So you see here in layman, what's next, slice B4, and it says goal in layman's term. Tell glitch, which is the system here, glitch, and the algorithm trace, which specific effort dial in the algorithm, right? Remember, that's the thing we're actually trying to test. Claude Code is using when the user submits a prompt. Right now, there's a setting called Claude effort that lives in your shell's environment, and Claude Code reads it on every prompt, but glitch has no idea what value it sees. B4, which is this phase, wires that visibility in. So the very first card every hook fire produces will be a harness effort decided card, which will be called card 0, with the effort level baked in. So I'll now be able to see what the decision was in the algorithm. So this is really cool stuff, guys. This like opens up a whole crazy world of things that you can do. So this is a really exciting bit. This is when you're kind of, everything's coming together. So visible to the user, you, Chase. Oh, look, it even knows you're here, Chase. Live stream viewers, look, even look at that from a clear context. Now, if you're wondering how it knows that, Chase, are you wondering? I don't know.
I'm assuming it had saved something internally in one of your .claude files.
So I'll tell you what it is. Within,
Is that right?
No, it's not in the Claude MD, but what it is if I go to desktop here to Glitch MVP, I've obviously got all the things that I'm building here, right? But I've also got planning. In planning, I've got a whole bunch of stuff, but part of that is context. And the context is that we're doing this. And for example, when I said create the HTML, why are you creating it? I want to do a build on live stream and I want to be able to talk through it, right? And so it's a context thing, right? It's just got the context, no surprises there, right? So it's just managing context that's necessary, right? It's just somewhere in the drive. It just happens to have read it at some point during the session. It might not remember it next session. It's just because it's just finished the process. It's got all that big loaded context in it. So anyway, visible to the user, a new card 0 at the top of every prompts group. Yep, fine. Plumbing, one file. Okay, cool. And then success, it says, this is what we expect, right? Remember, expect versus outcome. So it's saying launch glitch, fire a prompt, look at the Rails newest group. Top card is 0 with effort level populated. That's how I know it worked. Type into the center pane in Claude, please tell me what your Claude effort environment variable is. And then it will be able to tell me what it is, even though I never typed it or anything. It would be from the prompt injection. And so risks low, that's fine. Time estimate, forget that. That's a silly estimate, it's an AI estimate thing. After B4 next year. Okay, so there's one last thing I'm going to do, right? Well, actually two, and then we're finished. One is I need to delete this merge thing. So I understand you still need to delete the branch, but you've already merged. Can you just confirm that for me? Is it something you need explicitly, and what is it you would need to hear explicitly to do so, assuming that everything is updated? That's my first prompt. Secondly, can you tell me, was there anything updated in our index or anything that might be stale across things like portability or lessons learned? I believe you've updated everything, but this is just one last sanity check from me. Could you just verify for me? Okay. Let's see what it comes back with. And then we would have done a full slice, right? 222K context. Okay, good question. On the merge state, PR38, the Act 5 slice, which is what we just did, is fully closed. It's merged, the remote branch deleted, local slice branch auto-deleted when I switched away. PR39, the chore branch, is still open and not merged. That's the remaining destructive step. The explicit phrase I need is in plain prose, affirmative on PR merge, anything like merge it, go ahead, approved. Okay, so this is not what I thought it was, but that's fine. I just need it as an ordinary process. I also have these chores that I raise. It's just my GitHub process where they're like subtasks. So some people manage things in issues, some people use chores. This is something I do. And this is a whole GitHub discussion, and I don't want to bore everyone with it, but it's just the way I work, right? And it's not anything special. It's just how I keep an eye on small tasks. So in this case, from the moment that I merge, which is when I merged all the code and was happy with it, it then presents me information. And this is what it's tracking now. So for example, I might have read what's coming next in the next slice, and I might have said, oh, this doesn't look right. And I would have had a bit of a backwards and forwards. And so that's what it would then put there, and that's what would then be merged, right? So that it's got it when the session closes. So audit findings. And it's interesting. There are real gaps I missed in the R9 sweep, right? Like C4 is stale, that's fine, because we're not doing that till after the MVP, so that's fine. Per R2021, the architecture file is per slice. Looking at it now, components like Chokidar Watcher, which is the tool that looks for the events. The right rail event card is still tagged as planned, and it's quite okay. Portability, Act 5 entry is still a future slice ticket placeholder. Okay, so there's okay. I'm glad I asked the question because it didn't do what it was supposed to do, right? So this is one of those good example of where things can go wrong again, right? Okay. Okay, yes, please ensure that all the appropriate files are updated and that there is nothing that is stale. Let's just do a simple audit and update accordingly as you find it, please. And then let me know in a very concise summary after the fact what has been done, and when you're ready for me to move towards any merge or other GitHub actions that will lead me to be in a state ready to clear context and move on to the next slice. This is one of those things, right? It usually does everything perfectly. In this time, it forgot a few things. So there you go. And this is why, funnily enough, Chase, if I go to my whisper flow here, you might find this amusing. I don't know if you will, but in my insights, your voice, check this out. My favorite catchphrase, according to Whisperflow, is,
can you verify this? That is fantastic.
Most used words, right? That's me saying, like, you got that right. Most corrected word, you. I don't know that. And it says, my profile, it says, you frequently use voice to navigate complex technical discussions, often pausing to clarify or verify details about coding environments and project requirements. This approach helps ensure nothing gets overlooked in your collaborative efforts. Well, that makes sense because I'm always doing this kind of work with Whisperflow, right? So, that makes sense. Okay. Found one additional staleness. Plan MD execution order table still tags A5 as next. Right, fair enough. So what I often do at this stage, because I've had one failure, I'll be honest with you, what I would usually do now is I would probably open the files and start looking, because I've lost a bit of trust in this moment that the actual process is being followed, right? And so while I can see it making some edits, I'd be very conscious of the diffs, right? Because I don't know why it started to do that. It's usually very good at it. But this is the kind of thing that can really trip me up. So I know we're on live stream, but I would usually go back and forth a few times. Now, the good news is that I know what we've just done in that slice, and I know it wasn't major, and I know that we were in a really good place before this slice. So just for today, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to trust that this fix has done it. But what I would recommend to people is taking the time to say, okay, now that you've done it, can you re-verify? You know, it's a bit of constant back and forth. And if it comes back with, oh, yes, I've also missed this, you're in dangerous context territory, right? That's usually what it's a sign of.
So this is where you would have it put together a list of all the files it touched, everything that
Yeah.
it had
So it should do it
updated,
now.
and
Yeah.
go through it systematically and
Yeah.
manually even.
I suspect it's going to give me a table. I think it's going to give me a table, and I think it's going to give me green check marks. That's what I suspect it will do, because that's a format that I've discussed in the past, and AI is very good at repeating itself in the same format you like. So that's what I suspect. That's my expected, right? And back to outcome, right? So let's see.
Yeah.
So it's telling me that it's doing a git status for these files. So I know that they've been touched, and we also know from the diff, right? But I'm going to just check and wait. 60 insertions. Okay, gave me a table, no check marks. So files, it touched lessons MD, slice journal, plan status, V1 backlog, flows events, tails and render, already updated in the first chore commit. So that was already done. So that's good. Architecture glitch, stale, fixed. Act 4 components were still planned. So they were there, but after we completed that session, we hadn't done it. Now that one's okay, because that's probably because at some point in Act 4, I said that we're not going to do C4 until we've completed the MVP. So I'm not too worried about that. So that one does make sense. And this session just doesn't have that context. So that's okay.
Portability. I'm excited to get into like C4.
Yeah.
And see how granular we want to get with mapping everything out. You know, what we find really works well and what we find doesn't. So
yeah, you could, because you can go quite granular. You can go to kind of code tracing level, but it's an index ultimately. I mean, for something like this, you probably don't need to do that because it's very light. But as it grows, you know, and so the question becomes, actually, do I architect it from the start that way? I think if you couple it with documentation, it's probably a good idea too.
Absolutely reading my mind.
Yeah. So portability, this is important. Now, this is a really important file. So this file is, it's checking the portability of two things. One is Mac OS versus Windows, which is really important because we want it on both, right? Number two is Tori versus Electron. So today we're doing an Electron, but we might want to go to Tori in the future, undecided, or decide at the MVP phase. So I want to know what the differences are, right? And I want to track it. And I don't want it to have to go back into my code, read all of the code and know everything. I want a good baseline index. So stale, fixed, Act 5. So basically it just hadn't updated. It said that it was a future slice placeholder, and it didn't update that Act 5 was done, and therefore it also didn't update that this phase was done, right? So it just needed to update that. So it's actually a really small thing, but it's good to know. Events listening manifest, stale, fixed, Act 5 paragraph was future tense. So you see the trend here, right? What happened is when Act 5 finished, I didn't ask this question, and then it continued that chain.
Yeah. I'm curious if you're also experiencing this where plans get left open at the end of them. So even though everything that needs to be done in the plan is done, it's checked, it still, if you just continue talking to it and you don't actually ask it, hey, did we complete this plan? Have you closed it out? It seems like more often than not nowadays, it's not closing plans.
Yeah,
Keep them
yeah.
open, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a problem I have all the time. So what I do is I have this hard rule structure that it has to follow this sequence. So generally, most of the time that's enough, but occasionally, like this example, it doesn't. So I think I've tried everything. I've tried skills, I've tried exit hooks, I've tried a few different things, and actually what I find is when you've got a lot of documentation, the folder gets big. Sometimes you just got to be the orchestrator, and you
Yeah.
just got to be accountable. And this is the thing of not trusting too much, right? Trust but verify, hence my catchphrase in Whisperflow, right? All I had to do was ask the question, right? And now I know we're okay, right? So what does give me a bit of confidence in this is that I can see what these changes are and I actually understand them, right? And if I didn't understand, so in fact, let's do that. Let's just quickly do that. Just before we move on, I'm just curious to understand specifically what was stale, what wasn't updated, because we go through quite a diligent process generally, and I think you've been doing a really good job of that. So I'm just curious what it is specifically within our process at the end as we close off this and move towards getting to that clear context phase may have slipped the net and why it may have happened, and to consider then as a result whether or not we need to refine our process.
But this really is, though, a huge problem, because otherwise you'd just end up getting this bloated directory of
Yeah.
plans or memories or whatever the
Yeah.
whatever the
So,
category is. Yeah.
so this is a great use case, right? So what I think we should be doing is within our development skill, right? We use our algorithm architecture to have some code, some deterministic code that checks that these steps have been done, right? By looking at the certain fields that it's expecting within the schema, like a checkbox, right? That they've been updated. And then we have an agent or a sub agent using a much smaller model, just verify that,
Yeah.
that it's been done. And you could then make it deterministic. So it's basically like me asking this question, but it's just done automatically, deterministically. And we could even see it firing off to see that the skill has been actioned correctly. So like that would be like a good example.
Dude, it's almost like as we get higher and higher up on the chain of having, an agentic pyramid beneath us, right? Like the $1 billion business
Right.
idea,
Yeah.
right? So you're like at the top, that one person is at the top of the pyramid, and then they got all of the agents and sub agents and everything. It almost feels like we're entering a phase now where you have your main orchestration agents, and not only are we deploying teams or sub agents, but we're also now thinking like, hey, it'd be great to have a lightweight model running that is dedicated to only one function, and just like that's what it does. And so it's almost like we're now one level higher with our managers, or regional managers, and then they have their workers beneath them, or their assistants, or whatever.
Juniors are a bit more sloppy, right? But they can deal with easy tasks.
And you give them less. You're
Yeah.
just like, hey,
Right.
you're going to be more, you need to become an
Yeah, I like
expert
that.
at this one thing. Like, this is your thing. You better own this.
I really like that analogy.
Yeah.
And there are these cool
We're
open
on that next layer now. So,
yeah, like
yeah.
when you were talking about memory, right? Remember we were talking about memory architecture a while back, and I was saying how one of the things I saw someone do that I thought was really neat was they used one of these local models, and it was like 60, 70 megabit models, so really like very small amount of parameters. So it's not like some frontier model like Opus that's really clever, but it could do things like just checking something.
So what is it, a 0.06 billion parameter model?
It's something really small. I don't remember the
Yeah.
exact numbers, but it's local. And so you can just have it as part of the package. and its only job is to check stuff like that this has been done,
Mhm.
and you don't pay any tokens for it. And and that's so neat. And if you're someone like you who has a DJI Spark, you can do a lot more than that, right?
Yeah.
So it's so cool, like the
Could
potential
have quite
there.
a few instances of little sub agent or little small models running.
Small models, yeah, exactly. And this is getting quite advanced, right? But I
What do we
think there's a
call them? Mini agents? Like, we're
yeah,
gonna need to come up with a word for, like, a
yeah.
a specific term for them.
I'm wondering if there is language for it. I mean, they are just small models, locally run models, right? But I guess when you're allocating them in that way, and you can control them deterministically through a harness, which
Mhm.
Claude Code cannot do. It's a great example of Claude Code harness currently does not have a feature to manage that, right? So you can't do it. Can you do it? I'm trying to think. Can you do it in the PI coding agent? Perhaps you could set up something deterministic using the extension protocol that they've got, but I'm not sure.
I
I
mean,
know.
I think you still do have a little bit of the probabilistic aspect of it, because it is an LLM in under the hood. So there will be some component of it that needs to have either classification or some ML or AI functionality. But I think for the most part, it's just like having totally blanking on the word now, the deterministic functions that it uses, that it runs like this or this in combination, and then has one small little LLM worthy component.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like innate in. Like
Yeah,
innate in,
No, I'm just
yeah,
taking a moment to synthesize that.
where it's mostly automations with like a little bit of AI where it's needed.
Yeah, I mean that is the goal, right?
Yeah.
What I find quite tricky sometimes is how you kind of architect it up front in a way that you don't have to undo.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that might be just part of the delivery approach. It's something you mentioned actually, which was modular delivery. I'm not sure. I agree. So it's two part. I agree with what you're saying, 100%. But the part that I'm still unsure of is the how. I think I would need to play around. There'd still be some more experimenting, because you can set up most of it that way. But if you've got the local model variable, how do you actually do that? I guess you could just do it with like bun, couldn't you? I'd have to sit with that one for a bit. I'd probably have to go back and forth with AI for that.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many questions. It's like out of my, like it's beyond me. Like I'd need to ask either someone that I know is a decent programmer that
So
understands this stuff better.
it makes me think we need to have a name for these type of system, like a little like a packaged agents,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And we have teams, we got sub agents. I think, dude, like mini agents.
Yeah, model agents or mini agents or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
tiny agents.
No, you're right. And because then you can manage the data schema, right?
Mhm.
The orchestrator directing them, because you can't if you start to mix the ontology. We haven't spoken about the glossary, but if you start to mix the ontology, that's when things go wrong. And by the way, this is a good example of this, right? So this is a language thing. So I'm just reading this output, and it's basically saying we said something was implied, and so it didn't think it was important. But actually, if you use the correct language, which in our case is quality gates, then it becomes important. So what this is saying, by the way, is but yes, I agree. Sorry, I'm a bit out. I went a bit haywire. I had a bit
No,
of
you're
a.
good.
I went into like what's it called? Error 404. It made me, because it made me in my mind what I wasn't saying out loud was I was expanding this idea, trying to think it through, and I hit a brick wall quite quickly. and my neurodivergent kind of
Problem
I
solving. You were halfway through the problem and
no, there was no solving. There was no solving. I was just in problem. I was just in a swamp of problem, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to answer. Do not compute. Yeah. No, I didn't get to solving anything. I was just like, I went like 1 or 2 steps forward, and then I went like meltdown, like broke, like crashed, hung. Sorry about that. Sorry, dude. I'm not going to even pretend I was working something out. I tried to style it out by saying like, yeah, I'm synthesizing. But like in reality, I was just going, what the fuck? Excuse me, bad French. Sorry, I need to get better with that. Sorry. What the fudge? Sorry.
Pour me a glass.
Yeah, that's what I need. I need to take this out now. I need to get drinking. It's Sunday evening, man. I need to get drinking now.
It's Sunday evening, yes.
Yeah, so let's just before I lose track of like who I am and my name and stuff, let's just quickly close this out. So I asked the question, how did we miss this, right? And it said lesson R21 says slice opens, then project before, slice closes, project after, right? Treat like quality gates, non-optional, mechanical. I never invoked either skill. This wasn't an oversight in isolation, right? See overcorrection below. Okay, so that's interesting. So let's see what overcorrection is. We'll see in a second. So this is interesting because I've done a blog post on this before, right? Which is that when you have auto-invocation on a skill, you never can guarantee that it's going to be invoked. The way I could have solved this is either by calling it a quality gate, but that's still loose. It probably improves things. Refining the actual skill description so it invokes better, right? Or number 3, removing auto-invocation altogether, making it just a slash command to invoke the skill, which is deterministic, and then actually having a part of the process that says at the end, like when I hit exit, instead of clear context, I hit exit, and then I put a stop hook that runs the skill, right? A session end hook, sorry, that runs the skill with a slash command. So that would be the better way to do this, right? This is just an idea. I mean, there's a few ways you can do it, right? I think there's probably a better way than that, but this is the kind of idea. So just, again, it's engineering. It's an engineering problem, but it's good to know. Artifact. In the meantime, I'm very comfortable during an MVP just to ask, verify. Why it slipped, portability. The Act 5 slice spec in plan said portability MD likely so in my plan, it said for this phase, for this slice, that likely no new entry expected, pure UI work, no platform coupling, right? Because we were just doing the collapse and all that stuff, right? I trusted that prediction at slice close, but lesson R17, dual equivalent rule, says every slice gets a portability entry with both Mac and Tory equivalents, the 2 things that I track in the portability file, even when the content is no new coupling, right? So in other words, the only update it made was to say there was nothing to update. So it was right, I wouldn't have lost anything, but it didn't enforce a discipline because it had already presumed based on what was in the plan that it wouldn't have anything to update, right? So it was stale. So the document was stale, but it wasn't wrong. It didn't miss anything. Does that make sense, Chase?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So that's good to know. Why it slipped, events listening manifest. So not in the Act 5 slice spec, documentation owed at slice close list. For paragraph had been written in future tense when Act 5 was promoted a prior session with the implicit assumption that whoever closed Act 5 would past tense it. I read the slice spec docs. Okay, so this is basically saying that it read this document in a sequence too early. So in my process, I have a thing that says update the document, and this read it before it was updated. So it thought it hadn't been updated yet, or vice versa. I can't remember which way around. I can't work it out in my head, but it's basically what it's saying. So that's, again, not that serious. As long as I ask it to verify, it's not that serious. Artifact plan MD execution order table, why it slipped. Same as the manifest plan, treats itself as a spec doc, but the execution order table, yeah, okay, fine. So the shared root cause, the slice close checklist lives in 2 places that disagree. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I understand this, harder for you to understand because you're not the one that drafted it. So I can see, it might sound confusing to you, but to me it makes sense. Okay, Specific overcorrection worth naming. This is important. The like C4 gap is a second contributing cause. After you flagged my early session GSD skill invocation, I saved no GSD skill pipeline MD and proceeded defensively. Interesting. Avoiding all skill invocations for the rest of the slice. Ah, that's mad. Including project before and project after. Those aren't GSD pattern skills, and the project architecture skill are to. So when I said, so this is so interesting. So you remember right at the start of the project, so you remember right at the start when I said, oh, don't invoke GSD, right? It then thought that the slash commands for my project before, project after, which I've got deterministically, were linked to GSD. And so it's because they've also got a similar slash command. Yeah. And so it basically said it's going to ignore these, and it couldn't work out that it wasn't related to GSD. So what I should have done, what would have been the right thing to do? You see the start when it went a bit funny and it like did the GSD thing. I should have just stopped, cleared context, and started again. Because the context was already corrupted from that moment. Do you see? And this is attention sinks, right? We're at 263K context. So it completely just got confused. And it makes sense why it got confused, but it's how delicate context can be sometimes. I find that so interesting. Okay, good. This is cool. This is cool. It's one of those moments I think is a real learning moment for me. Like I love that. Like I've not come across this before. Okay, cool. So let's see the refinement, what I propose. So 3 concrete changes. Okay, cool. So new rule R27, slice close sweep is fresh, not loss driven. At every slice close, every handling the slice owed list to a fresh planning directory, walk checking every file against lesson rules. Don't trust the in-slice. Okay, that's quite intense, but I can kind of see the point. Update the slice when scoping a new slice. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, I don't want to over-engineer this, but thank you for the explanation. I really appreciate it. I learned something valuable here too. The lesson I learned is that when the GSD skill invocation occurred, I should have stopped and cleared and started a fresh session. In the interim, let's make any small notes of lessons learned that this occurred. And let's just ensure that we are up to date as is for now. Finally, let's move to conclude our GitHub work, and that everything is fully up to date, and that we are in a position to clear context and move to our next slice. So for now, I'll just keep in mind, I mean, what I would like to do is go back into the skill and edit it, but for now, I'm just aware of the problem. And so I'm going to take one manual step, which is to just simply ask for that verification now. Now, obviously, when we get offline, I'll fix this, but, you know, we're here now. So, you know, I'll make the note. Okay, got it. Keeping it light, adding your articulated lesson to the existing Act 5 retrospective, good. Then closing GitHub work, good. Okay, that's exactly what I asked it to do. So we're good. Because the other thing you want to be careful of, I think, what I often find is you can over-engineer these things, and then that even becomes even more confusing. It's not the right time to do it. I'm at 271K context. If I want to be sure, I need to just make a note of it to check it later, and then from a fresh context window, review the skill, see if it's something that, you know, and just be sure. Yeah.
You know, one of the things I've started doing at the end of or near the end of my effective context window, so, you know, 200 to 250-ish.
Compact.
Well, compact, yes, but depending on what the topic is, if I'm going off to do something relatively large afterwards, I will ask it to write me a optimized system prompt for starting this in a new session, right? A new thread. And it will create like a detailed system prompt that I can just copy and paste into a brand new session. And a lot of the times, you know, it's much longer than what I would obviously tell Jax to do in a new session. And it's been turning out pretty good. I've been testing it for, I don't know, a few days now.
So I've tried that before too, and you're right. It works pretty well. I think what I try and do though is I kind of do that, but I try and make it as deterministic as possible. So I kind of would prefer it if it just does that within the session updates, so that when I come back, this, like it says down here at the bottom, just type resume glitch build, and it should know from that 3-word command exactly where to look, and then it gets led around what it needs to read instead of having to draft the full prompt. That's what I try and do. Maybe one day, you know what we should do is I should show you my because this isn't just a random command. It's like there's a whole bunch of skills around this, and it's a link to this process, which I think break it down, because I think the heavy lifting is in those prompts. So I totally see your method. I think it does probably work, and when I've done some of that in the past, it's been pretty handy. So it's a great way of doing it. I just try and limit it.
Pain.
Yeah, just a bit of a pain, exactly. I try to avoid, if I can, doing that. But you're right, it is a solution. I just don't know if it's tactical. My experience is the same as yours. Like, it does generally work pretty well. Okay, let's finish this up. So all clean, green light to clear. Okay, GitHub thing. Main clean, working draft, heads up, one left over from earlier. That's a stale local branch. Yeah, that's this leftover here. It's not on the remote. B3's PR is merged. Safe to delete with git branch whenever you feel like. I haven't touched it since it's outside today's scope and destructive operation. Right. R8 pre-clear review. Okay. I want to ensure everything is 100% cleared. If something should be deleted, it should be removed. So can you go ahead and do that? I'm curious if that destructive operation is linked to auto mode. I just want to test that theory. So I want to just see if this will still reject it and say to me that I need to tell it. So let's see. When it rejects it, it tells you outright. So something pops up here. It's like a little circle point, and it tells you that it's actually happened. So I just want to see if that happens. Get status fine. Chore mark B3 merged. It's this. By the way, don't do ever what I just did, right? I just said, I want to ensure everything is cleared. This is lazy. If something should be deleted, it should be removed. That is nowhere near clear enough, right? That's dangerous, what I just did. Here we go. Ah, now look, stale branch deleted.
Danger zone. Danger zone.
Yeah, see, that was a bad thing to do. I shouldn't have done that. Stale branch deleted. Its tip commit was already in main, accepted it without needing to be destructive. Ah, okay. So it didn't need to be destructive. One outstanding item needed to call is the only untracked file left, which is our progress. Ah, yeah. Okay. So this file is, this HTML that I went through. This one here. Where is it? This one here. Yeah. This is a V2. That I was messing around with, but I have the original V1, and I haven't told the system yet if I want it get ignored or anything like that, right? With regards to the progress V2, the HTML, I actually want that get ignored for now, please. Because that's just for me, right? For the sake of this session and going through it and so on. It's literally the HTML that I just, you know which one I'm on about, right? This one here, where I went through all this stuff, right? Like, it's neat. I still want it on file. So there we go. Now you can see that's gone because it's now no longer on the Git chain. So Git main up to date, all clean, no file. Fully clean, green light to clear, on branch main, tells me the PRs, tells me everything's done, and we're good, right? And all I would have to do for the next slice, right, is that. So let's just clear, and that's it. We just went through a full slice.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I got to say, it took a lot longer because we did a lot of diversions and we had that little mess up at the end. But I think in general, if you think about the time it took to run the slice and just quickly complete the UAT, that was basically it, right? And it was a small feature. It was just the collapse stuff. Fortunately, we had no bugs or anything like that. Everything worked. But we probably, with bugs and fixing a couple of bugs, you probably would have taken about that time. I think that this is a slower and much more methodical approach. And I would say that I don't always take as long of an approach to delivery. If I'm honest with you, Chase, I usually kind of, it just depends on what I'm doing. Like if it can be dirty, it'll be dirty. But because I'm thinking to myself, if this MVP turns out to be something I really want to continue to work from, I don't want to have to go back and start cleaning up all of these big sets of bugs. I kind of want to be on a really nice, solid foundation and just work clean. And the next thing should just be, okay, I want to port it, to Mac and maybe continue there. So do you mind if I stop sharing the screen now? Is that...
No, that's perfect, dude.
I thought maybe we could just have a little chat, dude, and a little wind down. What do you think?
A wind down.
Yeah.
I don't have a glass, but
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, I'll just...
Oh, we're
Sorry.
zone.
I didn't know if I was not sharing anymore. Sorry, I can't control not sharing unless I go in. Actually, I can.
Yeah, there you go.
You've done it. Okay, thanks. Thanks, dude. Sorry, I've been in the dark this whole time because I had no screen, so I couldn't see you. I couldn't see your reactions. I don't know what was going on. But thanks for letting me go through all that. I'm sure that was a little bit painful for you at times, but I hope it wasn't too sleepy.
No, dude, that was fantastic, and I think that's the level of granularity and truly like attention to detail that needs to be allocated towards building something like this.
I think so. When you're dealing with something as important as this, where like the substrate is really foundational, the good news is once you've got that bit done, adding the features that people actually care about, like, is so quick. Like you can go from like, the difference is when someone says this is theater, you go, actually it's not, and I can prove it. Right, and you can prove it. Just go into run and I'll show you how it all works, right? And I guarantee you, if people care about that stuff, most don't. They just want to kind of think it works. That's okay for most. But if you actually start using these tools daily, especially with like the self-learning we're going to do, the memory stuff, that people talk about memory cartography and graph, and we know the truth about that, right?
Yeah.
So I think when people see it working properly in some way or form, whatever, because there's lots of ways you can do it, I think people get really excited because they can see how they can then implement it in their own systems, or they can just take exactly and lift it from like the way we do it. I think,
yeah,
that's my thinking anyway.
Well,
time will tell.
That is the thing nowadays too, is that like one of my buddies says, he's in the cybersecurity space and he's always like, there are no secrets nowadays. Nothing's secret. Like everything is out there. Everything is open source. Every idea has been talked about. Like it's all out there now. So even if you feel like you get a bit of a head start on something and it's novel, like it's kind of all out there to some degree. So you gotta really, I don't know, take what works and create like something unique,
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. Whew. I'm curious to see, like, on a side note, like this was like a bit of a test for us, right? Like this was our first test of giving it a go. So it'd be cool, like I think after the session when we have a little debrief, like to work out what you thought was good or not. I know that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process. So that was good. And I don't know if anyone, I saw a comment that looked like it wasn't a bot, which was mad. I saw someone say, hey, it might have been a while ago. They might have just popped in and gone like, oh, it could have just happened really late. So that was exciting. I only saw that now. I couldn't see it.
That was a bit ago. And, I'm laughing over here because just the one word is like, oh, they're probably not a bot. Like a bot would not just say one word. A bot would
no. they'd be like, hey, listen, go to this website for link, like buy followers or whatever, you know.
Or Garner 3 here. Hey, homie, I can share your stream in a Kick community to help hit
That's
1,000 followers and 800 viewers and also earn $1,500 per stream.
yeah,
Add
that
me in
sounds.
Discord. HERITET.
I think that might be a bot.
Really, Heritit? Heritit?
And what a name. Is it Hurt It? What is the Hurt It? What is it? How do
Or
you spell that?
it? Well,
Her- her-
it's Garner 3 on here, but
Oh yeah. I see it now. Yeah. Ghana 3.
sorry, gotta just roast a little bit.
Yeah. No doubt, man. No doubt. So, dude, that's it, man. I think I'm just gonna continue banging out the rest of those slices. I got like I reckon in total to get to the MVP being closed. And then, a bit like we did in this session at the start, where I said, this is what I did, this is what I tested, I'll show you. But like ultimately, I think it's about a day's worth of coding. So I think it's probably like all of those slices that are left over with me just going at it from 8 in the morning and just plugging away at it. And I really want to do that so that once we've got the MVP, you and I can agree, because that's step one of what we're doing. So like, if we can agree, then the idea will be, I guess, that I'll give you the port instructions. And one of the cool things we could do maybe is one of us gets onto Mac, and their first goal is simply to take all the context from the project, take Windows, and just go and create the port, which will be a slimmed delivery versus what this is. But it'll be the same technology, everything, just get it going up and running. And then we test it together. We're both on the same track. And then one person's working on one OS, one person's working on the other.
Dude, that's pretty sick. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool, man.
Definitely
And what's interesting is like, I mean, we definitely have to like rock, scissors, paper for like who gets Mac, because you get to do some extra cool shit stuff. Shiitake mushrooms on Mac, like agent teams and
delicious. Absolutely.
And you get to do like the windows automatically opening and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Ooh, speaking of, the teams, sub agents, mini agents, I don't know.
Model agents, yeah. Crazy.
Sounds good. Okay, so one of my systems sent me an email this morning.
Okay.
Awesome. I gotta find the email. This is my Claude Code Intel email of the day, right? So every single morning, get one. And thought this was interesting. So the big item today is that Anthropic Python SDK is hitting version 0.100 with managed agents, multi-agents, webhooks, and vault validation support. So
say that again. Say that full headline again.
Managed agents, multi-agents, webhooks, and vault validation support.
Yeah, and where is, so that's all features that are already in Claude. So where's it being released? In what?
Oh, this is the Python SDK.
The Python SDK. Oh yes, because Anthropic bought Python. Yeah. Oh, that's actually dope. Because look, I know Python. I know Python isn't for everything, but it's pretty cool. Like we could do some pretty. That's so. I was trying to think, like, that's just Claude stuff. Like, what are you talking about? And then I clocked because they bought Python. That's so.
Yeah, clever. So they've added support for those features.
Yeah, that's actually kind of dope. It's cool to see that they're actually like taking it forward. I'm going to come back. I'm just going to put this on charge. 1 second.
Yeah. So for those of you out there that are using,
for those Python fiends,
yeah. So for anyone out there using anyone out there that codes in Python or is already using the Python SDK, this is really big for if you're running to run any Calshi agents. It opens all of that up. Enrichment crews, anything that's multi-agent is now opened up on the Python SDK. So
yeah, I have to have a think about that because I don't know too much about Python, but I just think it's really neat that they're integrating. I wonder how I wonder if Python will become a better language to code with because they've purchased Python, and what extra documentation or content for the model training they can get, you know? Like I'm curious, like does that mean suddenly Python gets like elevated? Are we gonna like start coding in AI and it's gonna stop going like TypeScript for everything and it's gonna start doing Python for everything? You know? 'Cause at the moment I only use Python like with AI for like the occasional little script or something, you know, like just to kind of, and I don't usually ask it to do that. It's just AI picks that, right? It's kind of like I don't control because I don't care what language it uses. I'm just like, you know, so that's so yeah, it's so cool.
When here I can even share a screen real quick, show you what this looks like. And some of these might actually catch your eye. So let's see, make sure everything looks good, doesn't look too, not showing anything I don't want to. Always the big concern. You did good today, man. I didn't see anything that was.
Well, dude, I just like I was only working on like what I'm doing, like you know, so it's like the slice was like this is the slice where you input all your EMV variables. You know, I'd be like, okay, maybe, okay, big item today. Yeah. So this is what you were saying. Yeah. Significant feature release. Can you click into the actual link?
Yeah, let's.
Oh, did it literally just check the GitHub? Did it have like an announcement, like a README?
Oh no, I'm actually scraping the GitHub repo.
That's actually really cool. I think the biggest news is that your agent is doing that. Like, I think that's actually bigger news than the news. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I just set up because I was like, hey, why not go actually to the source itself?
So it's just looking at the diff.
Yeah.
That's insane. So it's probably there in the diff somewhere. That's interesting. What's this Axios news? Recursive self-improvement, Axios, Anthropic, Jack Clark, AI. Oh gosh, I don't know. There's so many like names now, dude. I'm just like, what, like Anthropic, Jack Clark, AI intelligence expert. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have to click in and be like, what is it? Like, it's too much going on.
Where do you think they're gonna land with that? Do you think it's gonna be like we have Claude, James Bond, Claude James Bond, and then like James Bond becomes like the old, you know, that's like the model that everyone wants, or that's the ultimate name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they gotta land on something, dude. Like now they're starting to go like
AI contributing, speeding up research. Yeah, this is really interesting though, dude. Like the whole recursive self-improvement thing and like the AI push to set up experiments and stuff. I know we spoke about it already, but it's just like super interesting.
Yeah, it is
because what does it mean for us? It means models improve like crazy quick. Because the bottleneck will always be the researchers.
Yeah.
That's insane. Okay. Yeah, cool. Cool. I'm trying to see if I saw any news from the guys. So do you know what? It's Sunday. I bet you tomorrow the news round there's going to be some new crazy stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
I think actually one of the first things I really want to do in our system in Glitch is I've got like news workflows. Like I've got one that like goes to ArcSiv and looks at the latest research papers, then translates it into a way of like, how does this actually affect me, you know, kind of stuff. And I've got like a couple of like check X and like what's trending and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that well. Like it doesn't. It's okay, you know. It's not bad. And then I've got some other like mail letters that I get like from other people that I've subscribed to that aren't bad. They give me a few like headline things, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I kind of put that all together. But one of the things I really don't have is a really like optimized like signal like skill for like absolutely the most important news like presented in a way. I'd love to have like a proper researcher that does some cool stuff, like goes through capture stuff, goes through, I'm talking about Interceptor, like going through capture stuff that's hidden behind paywalls and like scrapes the whole thing. And like, I know that's a bit naughty and I wouldn't actually do it. I'm just thinking about in principle.
Naughty.
I'm just thinking about, how cool would that be? And then, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm saying
Appify did it. Appify did it.
Yeah. It was Appify. 100%. It was an Appify scraper. Blame them. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't
know.
Yeah. I think that
I wasn't the creator of that tool. I swear.
Yeah, I mean, some of Appify's stuff is a little bit questionable too, though.
It is dodgy. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a bit like I'm pretty sure that breaks top TOS. Like so. I don't know how they kind of.
LinkedIn came for their throats last year.
LinkedIn are brutal.
Yeah,
that's all the lead scraping stuff. That's
and last August or last September they came down really hard on Appify and they closed. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 of the largest scrapers on Appify because everyone was scraping LinkedIn data because LinkedIn was so good at aggregating data from people, submitting it based on their job, where they lived, all this other information. And hey, data is worth quite a bit nowadays. So LinkedIn was like, that's our data.
Yeah, I heard about people like they got it to a point where they had to like log in with an account or their account or something to scrape the data, and then they were getting their accounts banned, and then there was all sorts of, and then there was another issue where it wasn't LinkedIn, but it was that CRM tool Apollo. There was a lot of people that set up and they were scraping Apollo. And then Apollo basically stopped that and you couldn't do it. Yeah. That's like lead gen. It's got to be like one of the biggest little like automation industry items, right? Because everyone just wants more sales, right? So it's like, yeah. And it's not even, I find it really interesting because it's not getting the data, like it all depends on like how much money you want to spend, right? But like getting the data is not really that hard. So it's kind of more about how you synthesize it, how you enrich it, how you even like good Google Maps scrapers can get you some awesome like lead gen. Like, if you're able to like refine, I'd love to talk about that actually sometime. Like lead gen's a really interesting area. Yeah, and so many people have like worked on it. There's so much good information out there, but it's also probably one of the most cloudy, like it's the most noisy areas. Like loads of people saying, I've got a workflow for this, I've got an automation for this or whatever. And it's like, they're mostly not that great. Like it's usually a data issue in my experience. Do you know much about that? Have you done much stuff around that?
A bit. And my first thought it's kind of funny. It's like, I don't know if you've seen those kids on LinkedIn that are 19 and they're like, and they write a post saying, hey, I just replaced my $200,000 a year SDR team. And you're like, what?
How old are they?
They're like 19, dude. They're like fresh out of high school. Some of them might be in uni or in college, yeah, you're kind of looking at them like, kiddo, what $200,000 or $200,000 SDR team? Like, what are you?
That's so funny, dude. I want to. We got to make like a reel on that. That's hilarious.
Mo goes
like a baby, like a baby AI doing it, like
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so funny. Like, what?
Who's
more stupid though? Like the dude doing it, he's trying to like hustle, fair play, like trying to hustle, or the peeps commenting, like in the comments, like typing the word that they've said. If they want to know, like, if you want me to send this to your DMs, comment. You see so many replies, and you're like, oh wow.
Kem, wow. You know what the worst is, bro? Is whenever you see someone that you respect comment the one word and then you're like, no, you're like, why did you do that? Like,
dude, it like hurts my heart when I start to lose respect for someone that I do respect. Like it's this feeling of like, I can't believe it. Like,
Yo,
I always respected you.
and okay, let's be fair. I think most of us have probably like commented on those before just to be like, is this just a scam? Like, is this even worth it? Right? It's those like
Dude.
free timeshares that they try to get you with or whatnot. You're like, it's free. Maybe it's good. I don't know. And then you comment. You do it.
I've done it 100 times. I've done it on the Jarvis. When I first saw the Jarvis, I was like, this looks insane. And I was like, I didn't even process. You know,
Wait,
it's the thing.
You one word commented Jarvis?
Yeah. But like whatever it was. Like, no, because let me tell you, so I know.
I'm just kidding.
Now you know what?
I needed a time to.
Dude, you know what it was, right? So it was the first time I ever seen it before it kind of became viral. And obviously my instinct when I see
name
it,
drop
right?
who's it?
No, I have no idea. I don't remember. It was like ages ago. But it's the one, you know, it's you know, it's that one. Yeah. So it's that same clip that's been replayed by like millions of different people.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like when I first saw it, I just thought there was a lot going on that I thought was pretty neat, right? And so I thought like, oh man, someone's like had a lot of fun here, and there's probably some really cool things I can pick up. And I'm assuming it's real, right? Because I'm not like looking at it going like, you know, but I'm thinking like, oh, I can rip off some things here, right? Like I can take it and then get it free. Yeah. So I thought it was cool. But then I kind of like I did it and I got like linked to some like ridiculous thing, right? You know, where they're trying to upsell you to like get it. And then in the comments, there were just loads of people going like, don't waste your money. They won't refund you. Like, this is just a thing you hit play and it plays once and then it's done. It doesn't actually work. And like, I was just like, oh man, like, but even I was like, I have those moments. Maybe Jarvis is a bit extreme, but I do have moments like that where I'll see something quite clever from like a guru type person, but who's like kind of just into it, like into all the trends and the viral repos and all that. And I'll see something and I'll go like, that's quite clever. Like the idea is clever. The problem is I find is I've looked at quite a few of these, maybe like 3 to 5, maybe now, where I like follow through on the ones that are really clever. And it's always like the idea is great, but it's this thing of like, it reminds me of, but the implementation basically isn't what they're selling. So it's like, memory is a classic example of this, because I think everyone has seen all the graphify, blah, 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 graph, you know, knowledge, memory, infinite memory, tickle your context to see the graph. It looks really cool, right? Andre Karpathy, all that kind of stuff, right? But the truth is that I know, as someone who worked in data management as long as I did, implementing graph like 20 years nearly, right? Actually, it's a bit less than that. It's about 15 years. But like, when I see what they're doing, I'm just like, this is so not what you all think it is. And I'm not saying they're misselling it, because I don't think they realize that. And so it's a lot of that kind of thing. It's like it sounds so cool and I really want it to be true. But then like you look at how it's done, you're like, no, that just doesn't work quite like that, or not like that at all, you know? And so that's a bit of a shame. It's often disappointing, you know? I find it more disappointing than like, oh, they lied to me, like nasty gurus, you know? Like, it's like, but have I been caught by it? Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, like more than once. Yeah, because you just don't want to miss out. Fear of missing out.
Yeah, you got to try them all. It
literally it's fear of missing out, man. It's just fear of missing out, like FOMO, proper FOMO. Like what if this is the one time it's legit?
You know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of some. You're at like the carnival, right? Town fair, and there's a chili contest going on.
Yeah,
I absolutely love chili. Like chili's your favorite thing on earth, right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
And you hear all these people around town that say, "I got the best chili. I got the best chili." And throughout the day at the carnival, you see more people that are popping up, setting up shop, saying, "I got the best chili," and you're like, dude, I got to try them all. Like, I really love chili. Like, if I missed out on the best chili in the world, this is like a huge event going on right now, and I love chili, then I'd be so disappointed. I'd be asking myself, what if I had gone with that one, right? And it almost feels like that. You're like, I can't miss out on anything, and you almost got to just test everything, even once you're full, and you're like, oh, dude, I can't have another bite. Shit, okay, I'll look at one more, one Hermes agent. I'll look at one more. And you're like,
it's like, it's so true, dude. It's so true. That's
that hunger for knowledge, or
that's so true. Like I just, Hermes. Like, oh, pie. My stomach. Like, you're just like, you're genuinely like, you got like meat agent sweats. You got like,
we need a picture of this. We need a picture of this or a video. Just one more bite. Just like, oh, it is overflowing.
Just in case. Just I don't want to miss out. Just like,
no, I can't. And you know what? It's almost like one of those Japanese sushi trains where it's like, not only do you not want to miss out, but you only have a limited amount of time. So I grab it and you can, like, just shove it down your gullet. You're like, oh no.
I want it all, but you know, and it's like you don't even get to like
claws spicy. I don't know if I want to go for that yet. Like,
yeah. You got it's got all the stuff, man. It's got like the rotting sushi, like it's got like the gas station sushi mixed in with like, you know, like all sorts of other crazy ish.
You don't even have time to look at it. You're just like, oh, let me just. Documents, just get rid of those. I'm going to try this. Open source, yum, free. My stomach really hurts. I don't know why.
Dude,
that free sushi.
Yeah, that's like my new thing now. Like when I see open source, because when I see open source, I'm always like super excited, right? Because I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like I love open source, sick-ass open source projects. But the second you see authored by like Claude on V1, I'm like, ooh, need to be careful. Did you hear about that Copilot thing?
No, what happened?
So there was a thing. Let me see if I can find it, right? Because I don't want to like misrepresent it, but it's crazy. So hold on a second. Copilot authored by I want to see if I can get the okay. I've seen like the GitHub update to the issue, but I want to actually, okay, here we go. It's a Reddit post, right? But okay, but let me share my screen. So you get, oh, actually, do you want to do? I will just share it to you. I'm sharing via Slack.
I can see your screen otherwise, so I can if you want to go back to what you
I don't
right now. So you're
okay.
Good.
Yeah. So I thought maybe people want to see it, but basically, someone spotted out that Copilot suddenly out of nowhere, they made a release. And then it started listing itself as the co-author on commits that were written 100% without Copilot.
What?
Yeah. So this happened the other day, right? And this guy is like, I just made a simple change written 100% by myself without using AI in Visual Studio Code. Copilot added itself as a co-author to the commit, even though I didn't use it at all. WTF, right? Oh. And he gave like the proof. And then they're like, go to settings, turn off Git add AI co-author, blah, 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 blah. And people are like, thanks. And that was initially how it started, right? But then it became, look here, let me show you. So what happened, right? Dimitri from Microsoft, right? In 1.110, we added a setting to add Copilot as co-author in commit messages by appending co-authored by Copilot, right? The issue was the default of the setting was on. So basically they changed it to off, right? So basically everyone that was committing during that time, just because they had the Copilot, was basically getting committed by thing. And then look here, right, a bug, like someone on
Oh my
GitHub.
god! In the
Oh, sorry, everyone, in quote marks. Our bad. We accidentally claimed all your hard work was done by us and our slop agent. Honest mistake made by people who've made other such honest mistakes. Fix the issue, right? And then basically just loads of people just
the one
going
above it,
ham.
one above it was really funny too. Yes, Suburbanite. Do your
Yeah.
process improvements include more thorough vetting of vibe coded contributions from non-technical contributors?
Oh, yeah. I like
Which I
this
feel
one.
like is literally a direct shot at them of like, you have incompetent people that are writing your code, so are you going to do like a more thorough vetting process of this?
It's unbelievable, dude.
Yeah.
Some of these anyway, but this so anyway, there must be uh WTF Microsoft forces. Okay, so this is another random article on it, right?
So are
Uh,
all mine going to say that they were done by both Claude and Copilot now?
no. So it was just it was superseding. It was like it was just saying Copilot.
Oh,
So this is anything in VS Code, right? So it's basically saying a pull request for VS Code is currently causing discontent on GitHub. It makes Copilot the co-author in every commit message by default, provided the AI tool was used for the respective changes to a project with the help of programming software VS Code. And so basically, like this is how it started, but there's been a lot of drama about it online, right? I'm just reading because I couldn't find the original article, right? So I'm just telling you the story. No.
oh, here you go. I got.
Again, I didn't know the screen was sharing. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, Chase. I didn't ask. Yeah, so basically, it's just that isn't the best articles. Like people have done some roasts on this. All the big names in like programming have joked about it and stuff. But I just thought it's hilarious because obviously this factors into data, right? So on GitHub repo they have scores for like how much is coded by Anthropic and stuff like that. So for Claude, so it's we think it was probably a bit of a Microsoft intentional,
Yeah.
and they thought they'd get away with it, and so it's like how do you correct that now? Because the thing is like, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to now commit and then say it doesn't say it anymore, but you still got the commit? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't even retrospectively resolve it. You've now manipulated the data. It was just how long did you have it up for?
That's the real question right there. How long has this been going on for?
It feels like it was intentional. It feels like I don't know, but like there's so
And
many companies.
nowadays it's so easy to sneak things in and blame it on AI or blame it on a junior developer that was using AI. So like even if bad actors at major companies want to sneak something in that they know it won't be received well, they can do it and then kind of just blame AI for it and be like, "Oh, whoops a daisy. Sorry, we didn't know." Or a junior developer used AI to do this. Like,
It's so many angles, isn't there? I just think it's really nasty. Like if some, because a lot of the people, there's a whole like group of people that are more traditional software engineers. Like they might use AI a little bit to help them in their work, but they still take a lot of pride in like doing the work manually. And I get it because it's like their art in a way, and they love programming. Like that's not me, but I can see like why people would love it. And I don't know, I'd feel so offended. Like, could you imagine like doing art, a beautiful art piece, and then it says like at the bottom, made by Midjourney when you try to upload it, or like made by Nano Banana, or had the Gemini logo or something? You'd be like, what? Like I spent hours on that. Like, how dare you? And it's permanently there. And also people that look at your stuff, you have to explain to them, like, no, it was not true. It's a dude, I saw it on your GitHub. Like that whole world of like the anti-AI crowd.
You can't undo it.
I mean, you could delete, but like, what if you don't want to delete the commit?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's pretty brutal. I think it's pretty brutal. Like, I can imagine, I don't know, like, I can imagine my friends like being like, oh, I saw, like, you think you're tricking us, but I saw, like, you're coding with AI, and like someone being like, no, I'm not. I swear. Like, I swear I'm not.
God,
And then all their friends being like, yeah, okay, now I think you're a liar as well. because I saw it. You know, and you imagine how like gaslit and how like angry that'd make you.
Dude, I think I sent you a Instagram reel. I don't know how difficult it'd be to find, but where a guy was they were playing a prank on a guy in their office, and so it was like every time, you know, it was a cubicle office. Every time that he used some LLM to help him code, or for any reason on his computer, it would do that. So throughout the day,
Oh yeah, I
he
seen
would
it.
do something, and it was just, and everyone would look over at him, and he'd be like,
But that's genius.
"I only
Like that.
used Chat GPT that time."
Yeah. I love it. But that's genius. That's like, I love that. Like I saw something like that. I don't know if it was the exact clip. Maybe it was you that sent it to me. But like I have seen that. Like whenever someone like commits with any AI, you get like a big like alarm bells, things sound going off. That's so funny. Oh my god. There's been you gotta say the internet is just the king when it comes to like that stuff. I saw something really cool, unrelated to AI, but if you want to see something cool, a hacker related thing. Well, it's not completely unrelated to AI. So let me go. Let me see if I can find it first, and I'll send it to you.
You got like 5 minutes left in you.
Yeah. I just will show you this. This is a cool. This is I'd seen this clip, the original. You should try and find the original. But I saw someone summarizing it, and basically, this chick is just the coolest chick ever. I want to show you.
Let me know whenever I should share screen.
Yeah, not yet, because I'm just trying to work out how to. Because I'm using a different. Oh no, that's not how I do it. Let me think. Oh no, I think it's here. Hold on. No, it's not. Maybe it's in profile. View archive. Let me see. No, that's some random stuff with me and a chick. You don't need to see that. More. Here it is. It's going to be here.
Definitely break some TOS.
Yeah. You don't want to see that. Here, this is it. Yeah, this
Ready?
is it.
Okay.
Yeah, let me.
I'm going to share now.
Okay, cool. So it's called Tinder for Nazis. Hit by 100 gigabit data leak, thousands of users exposed. Okay.
What?
Okay, listen. Here we go. You ready?
Oh, I can't hear it. Let's see.
Hold on. Can you hear it?
No, we can't.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the link. Stop sharing my screen a second because I'm going to go to Slack.
Okay, you are off.
Let's see if you can get it. Like, I'm not sure why that is. I need to work out that little nuance. I'm still getting used to all this restream stuff. It'll be easier when I get my other screen.
Let me hide other people on here. Let's see. Sharing this screen. Let's add different screen, and here we are. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can. That's interesting. I can't hear it now. Oh, I can kind of hear it, but it's quiet. Yeah, I can't hear it, but I guess it's just like a stream thing. I don't know how to do it. I have to fix the sources.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen it. You can just see it, and so we can talk about it. But this hacker is really well known.
Yeah.
And basically, what she did,
good stuff.
yeah, so people, what she did, right, is she basically used AI to fish a bunch of people and these very deeply white supremacists. This isn't white supremacists as in politics. This is full on hardcore
Yeah.
Nazi stuff, right? And she basically like illegal stuff, like really full on. Like it wasn't like a political thing. And she basically used AI to create these chatbots, and then live at this hacking convention that's really well known. I think her name is like Root Denial or something like that. I can't remember what her name is, a hacker name. But she
Yeah.
basically dressed up as a pink Power Ranger, full pink, had this custom terminal on screen with like little cats running up and down, and she in real time released everything to the world with all of their names, their locations.
Doxed everyone.
Doxed everyone,
Wow.
and then live was opening the servers for all of these things and breaking them one by one permanently, full on destruction. And she did it live, taking down the servers in front of everyone. Everyone in the crowd was just going nuts, because do you know how much can go wrong when you're doing something like that? And it was like immaculate, and it was done so quickly. Like there's one point in it when she's like doing it, and then there's a problem where like someone changed the password, so the hash she had was wrong, and she like basically starts opening this other software that she's running live, and she like enters memory on their server, and she starts like doing it real time, cracking it real time, cracks it in real time, and she's like talking in German saying like, oh, you thought that was going to stop me? Like, I'm in front of people, like you're not getting away with it. And then she brings that down, and she just it's methodical. It's just one of the most cool things I've seen. It was like watching, you know, like those old like typical like Mr. Robot, basically. It was like Mr. Robot vibes. You know, like she was kicking butt all over the place. Just such a dope feed. I just saw that reel and I was just like, oh yeah, I remember when this happened. I was like, I've got to show this to Chase.
That's sweet.
Yeah, check it out when you get time. I know it's a shame we can't do the sound. I don't know what was going on with that, because like I think we shared Instagram reels before and it was fine. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I think we have. So I don't know. We'll have to look into that and get it squared away.
Yeah. So dude, how long have we been going? About 3 hours?
Just over. We hit that marker. So
I think that's pretty good for a Sunday night, right?
that is, and we'll be back on tomorrow, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Sweet, brother.
Yeah.
Case. Any final words, or
just roll the music, man.
Roll the music.